experienced a World Series win. It was 1948, a 6-game triumph over the Boston Braves. 6 years later, the Indians won 111, and they were in the series again, only to bear witness to Willie Mays' miraculous catch at the Polo Grounds, which started the underdog Giants on their way to a 4-game sweep. 4 decades of Indian futility followed before 1995, when they were the best team in baseball for the season, but not for 6 games in October. Now, as they seek to end their 49-year World Series drought, their path is blocked by an upstart Marlin team in only their 5th year of existence. Today's Indians are among baseball's elite, but still no world title in nearly half a century. It's true that many of those who will be at Jacobs Field tonight weren't even born when Cleveland last won the World Series. But the Indians are part of Cleveland's history, part of Cleveland's sense of itself. You don't have to remember 1948 to feel how long it's been. Cleveland hosts Game 3 next.
NBC Sports presents the 1997 World Series. Tonight, it's Game 3. The Florida Marlins versus the Cleveland Indians.
Talk about a change of venues from the Sun Belt to the Rust Belt, from salsa to Bertram's famous mustard, from the home of one of the newest of baseball's franchises to the home of one of its oldest and most traditional, and most importantly, as it pertains to tonight's game, talk about a change in weather conditions, almost a 30-degree difference. Tonight's temperature as game time approaches is 48 degrees, and keep in mind, according to the forecast, this will be the warmest of the 3 nights that they'll play October baseball in Cleveland this year. Hi again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. Welcome to Game 3. Well, the Cleveland Indians went some 41 years between 1954 and 1995 without hosting a World Series. Now they play host to the Fall Classic for the 2nd time in the last 3 years. Their pitcher tonight is Charles Nagy, a 15-game winner during the regular season. He's opposed by Al Leiter, who was 11-9 for the year for the Florida Marlins. Leiter lost his only start in the League Championship Series against the Atlanta Braves. Nagy pitched well but had a pair of no decisions against the Baltimore Orioles in the ALCS. I'll be joined a bit later by Bob Uecker and Joe Morgan for the call, but for now, to take you through the pregame show, we go to Hannah Stone.
Pitch of Game 3, time now to send it to Cleveland Indians public address announcer Mark Tromba for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remove your caps and remain standing for the presentation of colors by the United States Army, the United States Marine Corps, and the United States Air Force. To honor America and the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Grammy Award-winning MCA Universal Recording Artist, Reba McEntire.
Early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
The first pitch of Game 3 of the The 1997 World Series is next. We turn it over to Bob Costas, Joe Morgan, and Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, after these messages.
Game time has almost arrived. That means the time has arrived to say hello to Mr. Baseball, Bob Uecker, and Hall of Famer Joe Morgan joining us up here in the booth. Now, Joe, if after the first 2 games this past weekend in South Florida, we had said, well, they'll split, they'll come to Cleveland tied 1-1, that would be no surprise. But the way that happened might have come as a surprise to a lot of people.
Well, it certainly surprised me, Bob. We had a rookie, Livan Hernandez, pitching very well in Game 1. And he defeated Oral Hershiser, who was 8-1 in postseason play and one of the all-time big game players. Then in Game 2, Chad O.J. took the reins for Cleveland. He pitched very well. He defeated Kevin Brown, who was 2-0 in the LCS and had not lost a ball game since July. So starting pitching has dictated the momentum in this series so far, and I think we'll see that continue tonight. A couple of other things. Tony Fernandez starts tonight. This is his first start since his 6th game heroic there against Baltimore, and Gary Sheffield will be hoping to get some pitches to hit tonight so he can show that he is still the man in Florida.
Well, all the pitchers, first for the Giants, then the Braves, and now the Indians, all very wary of Gary Sheffield. He's already walked 15 times in this postseason. Well, we're in the American League Park, so we have the DH.
Well, for the first time this year, we get a look at the designated hitter. And for the Cleveland Indians, who would seem to have the edge, it's going to be David Justice. He had a solid .335 this year with 14 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Jimmy Eisenreich, not unfamiliar to the role, he did it with Minnesota and Kansas City in his American League days. One guy who we will not see, Bobby Bonilla. No way, no chance. He said, I hate the DH, despite the fact that he's got that slightly pulled hamstring muscle, Bob. And here's why he hates it. .220 career, 200 this year without a home run or an RBI in 1997.
So even though he might be hobbling a bit, he will start tonight at third base. Starting pitchers, Leiter and Nagy. More about that in a moment. But for now, let's get a report from Jim Gray. Jim.
All right, Bob, as you noted, the temperature is much, much different. 77 degrees, a World Series record in Florida tonight. It's going to be a 30-degree differential. Now, there's a lot of equipment that's being used. First of all, here in the dugouts, players on both sides have these portable heaters. That's not really going to help them that much, though, when they're out on the field. So here's what we got. The usual shorts from Florida, they're out. The long johns are in. Also the turtlenecks, no short sleeves tonight. That's not going to work. They've got these hats in the dugout instead of the ball caps. Thermal socks, they'll come in handy tonight. Gloves at all times, except for when you're on the field. Now the pitchers and the batters before they come up are going to wear these long gloves to keep their fingers warm. Got the regular coat, and in case it starts to snow, the Indians even have the hooded coat. Now we talked to Mike Hargrove, and he told us that a lot of the players on his team are going to use pine tar because he's afraid that the ball will be slick and it'll also keep their hands warm. As for the Marlins, a lot of their guys are using Vaseline to cover their pores tonight. Also, Jim Leland told his team, they were all complaining about the weather. He told those guys, hey guys, it's cold for them, it's cold for me, it's cold for you. Quit complaining about it. There are 26 other teams who are home in front of the fireplace. I think we can all agree we'd rather be cold. Bob?
All right, Jim, and Jim Leland also told us that when his Marlins went to Wrigley Field early in April for a frigid series against the Chicago Cubs, he told his team then, you know what? It's likely to be cold wherever we might play in October, and we want to be playing in October, don't we? So let's get used to it. In fact, Al Leiter, tonight's starting pitcher, was the Marlins starter on April 8th at Wrigley Field. The game time temperature was 28 degrees. They said the wind chill was one degree. Florida won the game 5-3. 2 days later, Alex Fernandez pitched a near no-hitter, and in 37-degree temperatures, they prevailed 1-0 at Wrigley Field. Leiter was the loser. About a week later, in Cincinnati, the temperature that day was 38 degrees, and the Reds beat him 6-4. Leiter grew up in Toms River, New Jersey. He says he's not unaccustomed to cold weather and not daunted by cold weather. He'll take the mound for the Marlins tonight. Here's Florida's batting order against Charles Nagy. Javon White at the top, followed by Renteria, Sheffield, Bonilla. Dalton will play first base. Lewis in left, of course. Eisenreich, as Bob Uecker told you, will be the designated hitter. Charles Johnson drops to 8th, and without the pitcher hitting, Craig Counsell, the second baseman, will bat 9th.
right-hander Charles Nagy tonight for the Indians. And here's the report on him. Not overpowering. He has a very good sinker, slider, curve, and a change. And he'll throw a splitter also. He tries to spot that fastball and basically stay inside on right-handers and especially try to jam you tonight. He'll stay away most of the time. He doesn't want to hit you inside where you're going to hurt him. But from time to time, you can look for that off-speed stuff, Bob. Breaking ball, slider, down low and away. And defensively, there you see them, Alomar, Vizquel, Fernandez, and Grissom. All Gold Glove winners, along with Williams, Roberts, Ramirez, and Tomei. And Charles Nagy, 15-11 tonight for the Indians.
A 15-game winner this year, as Uke said. Last year, he was 4th in the Cy Young voting in the American League, behind Pat Henkin of the Blue Jays, who won it, and Andy Pettit and Mariano Rivera of the Yankees, who were 2nd and 3rd. Nagy was 17-5 in 1996. In fact, he had a stretch between mid-95 and mid-96 where he went a combined 22-3. He isn't in that kind of groove right now.
Well, he has pitched very well here at Jacob Field. As you can see, 32 wins, only 14 losses, so he likes to pitch in this ballpark.
Let's get right to the subject of the cold weather. A lot of people say that it'll make the ball slick. It'll be difficult for the pitchers to get a grip.
Well, one thing to look for, whichever pitcher uses more seams on his pitches will have the advantage. By that, if you throw a 4-seam fastball, that means you're using 4 seams on the ball, so you get a better grip. If you throw a sinker that you're not using but one of the seams, you're going to have problems controlling the ball. So we'll see how the pitchers start off. But the more seams you use, the more control you will have.
Devon White hit .245 for the regular year. He's at .195 in the postseason. Ball one outside to the switch hitter. Joe West from the National League works the plate. Greg Kosk at first. Randy Marsh at second. Ken Kaiser at third. Ed Montague on the left field line, and Dale Ford, who called a very fine game in my opinion behind the plate in game 2, is working the right field line tonight.
And I concur with you that Dale Ford did a fine job behind the plate.
The 1-0 pitch hit down to Tomei, who'll take it himself.
Now that's going to be the secret to Charles Nagy tonight. Sinking fastball and a lot of ground balls. That's what they're hoping for. That time he hit it well. Devon White hit this ball hard, but right at Jim Tomei. And there's one out here in the Florida first. Here it is again, that sinking fastball down low and away. White hit it hard, but right at Tomei.
Edgar Renteria stands in and bunts foul. Edgar saying to himself, you know, I don't recall it getting this cold too often in Colombia. He is just the 4th player from Colombia in Major League history. None of the first 3 amounted to very much as Major League players, so he's already the best his country has ever produced. A little tap. Nagy gets to it and throws him out.
Well, Nagy throws a breaking ball. Renteria's way out in front of it. One of the things you try to keep from happening is getting jammed in a game like this. So you're going to see a lot of guys out in front of pitches, which is just as bad as far as I'm concerned, but you do not want to get jammed in this type of weather, cold weather.
You don't want to go outside your normal pitching pattern too much, but do you make a special effort to try and get in on a hitter's hands from the pitcher's standpoint tonight?
Absolutely, and I think that's pretty much the MO for Charles Nagy. He'll throw away, Bob, with the breaking stuff, but every once in a while, I mean, he's not afraid at all to come inside.
A ball to Sheffield.
I think one thing we might point out early too, Joe, in looking at Charles Nagy tonight, and it's going to be the same for Leiter, they're able to go to their mouth and get a little something on there that's going to help their grip on the baseball.
A called strike. 1-1. Sheffield's on-base percentage is nearly .600, as you see. 15 walks. He's also been hit by a pitch. He has 2 home runs in the postseason, 1 against the Giants, 1 against the Braves. 2-1. He was hit on the back of the hand in the area of the wrist in Game 2, continued in the game, and reports no ill effects entering Game 3. The 2-1 pitch is hit high and deep to left. Bip Roberts to the wall. It's gone. Sheffield hit only .250 during the regular season, but in September he got hot. And when he has had pitches to swing at, he's continued to swing a hot bat in the postseason.
Well, this is a low fastball from Nagy, and he puts a charge into it. I mean, he drills this ball because it's against the wind a little bit. The wind is blowing across from left field to right field. And, I mean, he really drilled it. And Nagy's just hoping that it would hit the wall, but it did not. And that's one of the reasons Gary Sheffield has a .565 on-base percentage. They don't want to pitch to him.
Now Nagy works on 1-0 to Bonilla and gets the corner. Does the ball carry less well on a night like this?
No, a lot of people have said that they think the ball doesn't carry well in cold weather. I disagree. I think the ball carries just as well.
Hit sharply to Tomey. It comes up for him, and he takes it itself. So Sheffield's solo home run gives the Marlins a 1-0 lead as the Indians come up in the bottom of the first. Cleveland's lineup for Game 3 of the World Series. Bip Roberts in left field tonight, had played the first 2 games at second base. Vizquel as ever the shortstop. Ramirez and Justice back in the DH's role. Williams, Alomar, Tomey dropped to 7th. Fernandez plays second base, and Grissom, who has the highest batting average in World Series history for anyone with more than 50 at-bats, hits 9th.
Well, here's the scouting report on Leiter. Very good fastball. He throws a slider and a curveball. He has a great overhand curveball if he can get ahead of the hitters. One of the things he has to do is stay calm. Sometimes at the beginning of a ball game, he's so hyper and he overthrows the baseball, and he ends up throwing a lot of high fastballs. And there you see defense, very good defense for the Marlins. Johnson has thrown out 5 out of 8 base runners in the postseason. But this is a good Marlins defense.
The first pitch to the switch hitter Roberts is a ball high. Leiter throws that cutter that can run in on the hands of a right-handed hitter and be especially troublesome on a night like tonight if he has it working for him.
The other advantage, Bob, is that he does not rely on a sinker, so he should be getting all 4 seams of the baseball, so he should really not have any problems throwing strikes. It's just a matter of keeping calm throughout the ball game.
Bounce to Leiter. He backs up to snare it and then drops it. Roberts is aboard, and we wait for the scoring.
I'll give you the scoring on that. That's an error. E1. Well, this is what we're talking about. See how he grips the baseball? It looks like he has all 4 seams there, and that's called a riding fastball, but you were able to control it better because you have all 4 seams. Now he gets the ball, and then during the transfer, he loses it. He had plenty of time to get Bip Roberts at first base. He just lost it while transferring it from his glove to his hand.
May have just been a simple bobble, but is it worth speculating? Is the ball possibly slick and harder to hold on to on a cold night?
There's no doubt that you're not as flexible. Your fingers aren't as flexible. You don't have the same feel in cold weather that you would in warm weather.
A strike call to Vizquel.
One of the other things, too, Bob, is these guys on the infield and outfield, with the exception of Alomar and the pitcher. In this case, it's Johnson and Leiter, Alomar and Nagy. Your glove is going to get stiff, too. On these kinds of nights, that leather gets a little tough, and that could be a problem, too.
Vizquel cuts and misses. He had been slumping in the postseason, just 2 for 29 coming into Game 2, then doubled and singled off Kevin Brown.
One of the other things we thought might happen would be that they would try to test Bobby Bonilla early.
Vizquel rolls it foul.
Because of his hamstring problem, we saw him really laboring at the end of game 2 on balls that were down low. He had trouble bending over. And he's not playing, he wasn't playing in that close against Vizquel, nor was he playing in very tight against Bip Roberts, but neither one has tried it so far.
Another 0-2 pitch. And another foul at the plate. The Marlins lead it 1-0 on Gary Sheffield's home run on the top of the first. Leiter's error puts Bip Roberts aboard to start the Indian half of the inning.
Bob, you talked earlier about those cut fastballs from Leiter. You're seeing them right now on Vizquel, and he's really got them in perfect spots inside. He almost hit those last 2 foul balls off his foot.
This ball is rolled weakly to the right side. Counsell with a quick flip to get him, but Roberts moves up to second.
Well, again, he got inside on Vizquel. You could hear that bat pop up here. He jammed Vizquel. He hits his little roller to the right side. Roberts moves to second. Watch this ball bore in on Vizquel. You could see him try to fight it off. He hit that weak little ground ball to Counsell. One away, but a runner at second.
An RBI spot for Manny Ramirez. Who in the last 3 seasons has had 8 postseason home runs, including one in this World Series. A called strike. Here's the homer he hit in game 1. Livan Hernandez hangs a curveball, and Ramirez makes him regret it.
If you get the ball out over the plate, he can really hammer the ball. Try to stay in tight on him if you can and go away. Right in there is what you try to do.
They check down at first base to see if he committed himself on the swing as he was spinning around, but Greg Koss says no.
Take a look at this. This is one of those cut fastballs or a slide. That's a slider there, down and in. And Charles Johnson asked for an appeal. He doesn't get
it. 1-2. Leiter's fastball can get into the area of 93, 94 miles an hour.
You were thinking exactly what I was thinking. I was going to say, when he throws that high fastball with the 4 seams up there, I mean, he can throw the ball by most hitters in that area.
And he threw it by Ramirez that time to get ahead of him on the count. 1-2.
That's a tough pitch to handle up there. Anytime you're throwing in that range, 90, 95, 96, you got to really get out on top of those high fastballs. One thing tonight, Bob, we might point out here in the opening inning, there's a big breeze blowing from left to right. I mean, really whipping out there. And there are some right-handed hitters in this game that can reach those perimeters in right field.
1-2 pitch, bounce toward Bonilla, comes charging in and throws Ramirez out with Roberts holding second.
Well, Bonilla gets the big hop here, so we still do not get a chance for him to test his leg. Watch, he charges in. He doesn't have to bend over. This ball is right up there. He just reaches down, catches it, and he has a very strong, accurate arm. And he has played very good defense in this series and in the postseason. See, right there, he doesn't have to bend. I want to see what happens when he has to bend down and get one off his shoe tops, and then we'll see how that hamstring holds up.
How about he told us before the game, Bob, how's your hamstring? He said for the World Series, good. Regular season, not good at all.
In each of the first 2 games of this World Series, David Justice delivered a first-inning RBI single. Roberts at second with 2 out here in the first. Ball 1 down and away. Justice over from Atlanta, and here's what he did. Among the league leaders in several important offensive categories for Cleveland. Just low, 2-0.
And Justice is just the best pure hitter in this series in that he keeps his balance well. You will very rarely see him off balance in his swing. Good slider there from Leiter right on the outside part of the plate. And there you see he pulls the ball most of the time because a lot of times they try to pitch him in. The area to get him out in is above the hands inside, or I should say above the belt.
Inside, 3-1. First base is open. Matt Williams is on deck.
And Dave Justice is the Marlins answer. You know, they're going to pitch to him like they're pitching to Sheffield.
And he takes a strike.
There's the kind of pitches Leiter can make all night long on David Justice. Really a great pitch here. A breaking ball caught the outside corner. Here it is one more time. Watch this. This is slider coming across the outside corner. And it's 3-2 on Justice.
We have not seen a curveball from Leiter, and he has a very good one.
Blown away, he walks him. 2 on with 2 out for Matt Williams.
Well, they start away with a slider for a ball. He misses in with a slider, goes back away with a slider, fastball off the plate, slider right on the corner, and another slider to give up ball 4. But they're not unhappy. They did not want to give him anything that he could pull and maybe get up in that breeze toward right field.
Now Matt Williams, 3 for 9 in this World Series so far. Can't catch up with the fastball. Here's the scouting report on Matt.
Well, you can throw him fastballs up and in. That one was up, but it was not in. He'll chase a lot of breaking balls off the plate, but with 2 strikes, you have a better chance of getting him to chase something down in the dirt.
Up and in for a ball.
One thing you better watch it. You better watch where you're trying to get him to chase. I know if you make a mistake, Bob, on him, and I'm talking about right field, right center, he's got big power out there, and he'll go that way. I mean, against a guy like Leiter, if you're going to stay away on him, he'll go that way. He'll give up on trying to pull a ball.
Hit into right center field, but in a good spot, and it drops. White couldn't get there. Roberts scores the tying run. Justice speeds to third. It sounded as if he might have broken his bat, but he gets an RBI single out of it.
Well, he definitely got jammed by the pitch.
Here it is again. This pitch is inside. He hit it. You kind of saw Williams take that one inside out. But I think if you look at Williams day in and day out, if you're going to stay that way or try to go that way on him, away, he'll try to go to right center. This time he may have busted his bat, but he dropped that little flare in the right center field. And he picks up a base hit, and we're tied.
Which brings up one of the Game 2 heroes, Sandy Alomar Jr. Time is called. Alomar had a tremendous home run off Kevin Brown Sunday at Pro Player Stadium, and also made a huge defensive play when he picked up a little tap off the bat of Charles Johnson with Moises Alou at second base and nobody out, and made a daring play. Instead of taking the sure out at first, he fired to third and just got Alou, cutting down the lead runner and short-circuiting a potential rally.
And that was a big play because they would have had runners at first and third with no one out, and still there was a runner at first with 1 out.
A strike from Leiter.
Well, the one thing that Jim Leyland has to be happy about is Leiter is throwing strikes. He's been able to make the pitches that he wants to make. He just has not been able to get out of this inning. But he has not thrown a curveball this entire first inning.
0-2.
Well, that's his 24th pitch here in the opening inning. The Indians have tied the game. But again, as Joe said at the top of the telecast, Leiter throws hard, good cut, fastball, slider, curve, control, time to time is a problem for it.
One and two.
Justice at third. Williams at first. With 2 out, and here comes the 1-2 pitch. Moves him away. 2-2.
Well, it appears to me that maybe they've just made up their minds that they're going to pitch everyone inside because of the cold weather. Because every pitch he's thrown this entire inning has been inside. And as I mentioned, he has not thrown a curveball, which is one of his best pitches. He has a good overhand curveball, but he's trying to throw all fastballs and sliders in on the hands of these right-handed hitters.
Foul back, still 2-2. A moment ago, you saw Leiter's career postseason record of 1-1. He made 3 appearances out of the Toronto bullpen earlier in this decade in World Series play, and although he didn't pitch well, he was 1-0. Another broken bat, a little bloop, coming in Alou, going out Renteria. Renteria can't handle it, and the Indians have the lead. Look at Leiter. He's saying to himself, I'm pitching in on their hands, I'm busting their bats, and I'm losing.
Well, but that's not always the key to success. Yes, he's throwing in on their hands, but you can jam a guy and he can still get a base hit. He jams Alomar here, and this ball is hit in the shallow left field. Renteria got a good jump on it. He goes out, and he can't quite make the catch. Alou knew he couldn't make the catch, so he let Renteria take it all the way. And Renteria tries to make the catch. He cannot come down with it. But when you're a pitcher like Leiter and you hit these guys on their fist, they will bloop some balls in. I mean, that's the difficult part of pitching in consistently. You just pitch everybody in, you're going to get some jam jobs. Especially when you're pitching up and in.
Now Jim Thome.
Well, this huge crowd at Jacobs Field really into this one early.
Swing and a miss by Jim. He has been benched against some left-handers in this postseason in the throes of a slump, but Leiter is not the kind of lefty against whom Hargrove is likely to sit Thome down, because Leiter's not that cute kind of left-hander who throws the sweeping breaking stuff. He'll come right at you, and Thome handles that kind of pitcher better. A ball and a strike.
Well, because from time to time, Bob, against a guy like Leiter who throws that fastball, and we've been talking about the cutter that breaks in to a right-hander or away from a left-hander, Thome's got that ability to go the other way. And Hargrove said the other day in Florida, it looks like he's really starting to come around.
2 balls and a strike to the Indian first baseman.
How about looking back on that play by Leiter on Roberts, Bob? If he makes the play, it's a 1-2-3 inning.
A strike as the fastball is high.
Look at this crowd here. Everybody's starting to get on their feet. I mean, this place is jammed up, and they're on their feet. They're loud, and they love it here in Cleveland.
Tonight's a night when you want to move around just to keep the blood pumping.
Leiter might feel like he's been unlucky here in the first inning, but I don't agree. I think they just pitch everyone inside, and the good hitters just fight off the pitches inside, and that's exactly what has happened.
The 3-1. Fouled off, full count. I looked in the stands, and 6 of the vendors were St. Bernards. Man, it's cold.
Yeah. Well, they said it was 47 degrees at game time. He's a little early, but he's here. They said it's warmer near Lake Erie. Let me say this. It's warmer in Lake Erie.
And knowing you might actually have checked. The runners go on the 3-2 pitch. Come on back, Jim. He was heading for first, thinking he had walked. But Joe West calls him out on strikes. They score 2, they leave 2. 2-1 Cleveland after 1. The aerial shots for tonight's game provided by Goodyear and the Spirit of Akron, hangar just 30 miles south of Jacobs Field. Darren Daulton starts it against Charles Nagy in the top half of the second. 2-1 Indians. In the first, Gary Sheffield delivered a blast for the Marlins. But that was more than countered by a walk, an error, and 2 broken bat bloops that produced 2 for Cleveland and left Leiter shaking his head.
There's a breaking ball from Charles Nagy off the inside corner on Daulton. That's the pattern for Nagy. Low and away, and then that breaking ball off speed stuff inside.
Hit hard to right. Manny Ramirez racing over to take it.
I don't think you can change your pattern completely to pitch just because it's cold. I think you have to pitch your normal way, and that's what Nagy is doing. He's mixing in some breaking balls. This was a breaking ball out over the plate. Daulton hit it hard, but Ramirez got a good jump on it and kind of relaxes out there and makes the catch.
He gave that one kind of a nonchalant shot there. It's cold, but he's styling.
Moises Alou had the big 3-run homer in game 1, which the Marlins won 7-4. Nagy's pitch is a ball. This is Nagy's second career World Series start. Started game 3 also at Jacobs Field against Atlanta in 1995. He was hit hard but not involved in the decision. The Indians came back and won the game in extra innings.
Now there's a curveball that Nagy doesn't want to throw too much tonight. We saw what Alou can do with a pitch like that in the series in Florida. He hung one that time and Alou took it.
1-2.
Here's that last pitch on Alou. This is where Nagy wants to be on right-handed hitters. Watch this one. There's a splitter down low and outside, and Alou went after it.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Bob, the reason I said the ball carries just as well in cold weather is because you do not play with the same baseball, and it doesn't have time to get cold. They keep the balls warm in the back room, they bring them out, and you play. That's why the ball will still carry in cold weather.
Called strike 3.
Well, he threw him a lot of breaking balls. Curveball in for a ball, curveball for a strike, a splitter away for strike 2, another splitter in the dirt, and then he comes back with a good curveball and he buckles Alou's knees, and it's called strike 3. He really didn't throw him a fastball the entire at bat.
Ball 1 to the veteran Eisenreich, DHing tonight. Some experience against Nagy back in his American League days. 3 for 7, as you saw.
Jim Eisenreich talked about doing the DHing tonight, Bob, and what he was going to do, or what he had to do to try and keep himself loose between at bats. Running up and down the tunnels here.
Lines it to center. Grissom started back, comes in, reaches down to pick it off. Florida goes in order. 2-1 Cleveland. Temperature hasn't dropped much, if at all, since we came on the air. 48 degrees at that time. Appears to be about the same now. We've all been at a lot of ball games, some of them in April and in October, where it does get cold. This feels colder than 48 degrees to me.
A little wind chill here. The wind is always a factor. I don't mind the cold. That wind blowing in is what bothers players more than anything else.
The switch hitter Fernandez. A 400 hitter from the right side this year, including in the postseason.
Bob, to finish up that story on Jimmy Eisenreich, there's areas down here underneath the dugouts and the tunnels where you can run, you can hit. I mean, you can really keep yourself loose and warm.
Fouled off 1-1.
Talking about those DHs, people might think, hey, how do you sit on a bench all night long and keep yourself ready and not get cold? Well, they're pretty comfortable here, and the dugouts are heated anyway.
Hit to the hole, base hit. Fernandez now has hits in his last 4 at-bats, dating back to the pennant-winning homer in Game 6 of the ALCS.
When you're swinging the bat well, it's usually because you're getting pitches in your zone. Look at this. Now watch every pitch to Grissom. He has 5 base hits, all of them down around the knees. He is really handling the low ball very well. And I think if you're the Marlins, you're going to have to change your pitching pattern. Look at that. He's hitting everything down, whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball.
He has hit safely in every World Series game in which he has played. 12 the previous 2 years with Atlanta, 2 this year. And now his career World Series batting average of .441 surpasses Paul Molitor and Pepper Martin for first all-time among those with more than 50 at-bats. 5 for 7 in this series. You've got a pretty good lineup when a guy like this hits ninth. 2-0.
Grissom showed bunt on the first pitch from Leiter, and that brought Bobby Bonilla up at third. He's about to even with the bag there. Playing shallow on Grissom.
3-0. Grissom is 3 away from the all-time World Series hitting streak record held by the Yankees' Hank Bauer. That's 17. Right now he's tied for second with Roberto Clemente, who hit safely in every game of the World Series in 1960 and 71. Called strike. Both 7-game World Series, both won by Clemente's Pirates. And there's the proof. At second base, Counsell to Renteria for 1. Guns to first, double play. So Fernandez and Grissom are out on the 4-6-3, and we remind you can follow the World Series online at MLBWorldSeries.com. Reds All-Star and 1995 MVP Barry Larkin is online right now answering questions about the game and the series. Plus check out the photos slideshow of the postseason to date and listen into the post-game press conferences at MLBWorldSeries.com. Cybercaster Barry Larkin. Bip Roberts lines it back at Leiter. And this time he handles it.
And this was in the first inning. Bip Roberts hits a little chopper back to Al Leiter. He couldn't field this ball, and that led to 2 runs by the Indians. And then here in the second inning, watch this. He hits a line drive back through the middle. It hits him right there. That feels like a ton of bees in your hand right now. Watch his expression here. Wow.
Charles Johnson starts it against Nagy as we move to the third.
You better catch everything in the web, Bob.
I tell you, they can tell me all they want about catching, how bad it is. I wouldn't want to be on the other end. I wouldn't. Some balls hit back through the middle, they can have them.
The 1-1 pitch misses. 2 balls and a strike. You were saying before the game, Uke, that on a cold night like tonight, it's really the pitcher and the catcher who are the least uncomfortable. Hits softly to right. It'll drop for a leadoff hit.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're moving all the time. You're throwing back and forth. And the one thing I think we should point out here, too, in talking with both managers, neither is going to hold back because it's cold in trying to move runners. Steele, play hit-and-run baseball. And that's one of the areas where guys like Alomar and Johnson in this particular series are going to be able to throw. I mean, you're back and forth, you're throwing, you're loose. It's not a problem for you. Infielders and outfielders, after you stand around for a while, you have a tendency to get stiffened.
Here's Craig Counsell taking a strike. Counsell was saying before the game, hey, I grew up in Milwaukee. I live now in South Bend. Attended Notre Dame, as a matter of fact. I love playing in weather like this.
Yeah.
What I don't love is the fact that the Fighting Irish are 2-5. That I don't like.
his father's here tonight. I know John Council worked in the front office in Milwaukee, Bob, for a long time, and I had a chance to talk with him in Miami, and he's really happy, really excited for Craig. Guy's been around a long time and finally gets his shot here.
Nagy's 1-1 pitch. Hopped up wide of third. Matt Williams over. No play on top of the dugout.
Bob, I played in the first Sunday night World Series game ever played, and it was real cold. Remember, Bowie Kuhn was sitting there without a coat on. The one thing I remember is it was really cold before the game, but once the game started, I do not remember being cold. I think, yeah, 1976 Yankees red, that's the coldest one so far.
Johnson at first, nobody out. And the 1-2 pitch struck him out.
Well, you see Charles Nagy is pitching his normal type game. And as I mentioned, Leiter seems to be trying to jam everyone.
Here's that last sequence. Fastball on the outside corner. Right back with it again, just off. Then Council, little pop fly. There's the breaking ball down low and inside. Council out of there on a strikeout.
Second strikeout for Nagy tonight. Bringing up Devon White, who grounded a first in the first. White has had a lot of big postseason moments, as you see, with the Angels and then with the Blue Jays, but only 190 this year. Included, however, among his few base hits was a grand slam home run off the Giants' Wilson Alvarez that pretty much clinched the sweep of the division series against the Giants.
One of the reasons he's not hitting as well as he normally does is because he's not as patient. He's been swinging at a lot of bad pitches.
2 balls and a strike.
We've been featuring a lot of off-speed stuff to Devon White, change-ups down low and inside, and even going down and away. And here again, Charles Nagy now, 2 balls and a strike. Don't be surprised to see him come off speed down and inside on Devon White.
He falls behind him, 3-1. Al Leiter goes to the hot water bottle, as you might expect, between innings.
Maybe to get some feeling back in that gloved hand, too.
Ball 4. That's the first walk that Nagy has issued tonight. Runners are at first and second with 1 out for Edgar Renteria.
Number 16, Edgar Renteria.
Renteria hit .277 during the regular season. Last year, as a rookie, he batted .309. Sheffield is on deck, and barring a double play, Nagy's going to have to pitch to him with men on base. Good pitch for a strike.
Mike Hargrove was telling us before the game about Nagy and that outing against Baltimore when he was nibbling early in the game, Bob, and they really got on him. They said, you've got to challenge the hitters a little bit more. You can't keep nibbling.
It bounces away from Alomar, but not far enough to allow Johnson to advance.
That last pitch, and a good play by Alomar. It's in the dirt. It's a breaking ball down low. Alomar getting his body down in front of it and knocking it down. It rolled away, but not far enough for either runner to advance. 79 miles an hour, 9-inch break on that ball.
The 1-1. 2-1. And for those of you who haven't seen it to this point, although I would guess there are a few who fall into that category if you've been following the postseason, supervision is a computer tracking of the pitch's speed and break.
1 with Sheffield on deck.
Now, this is just what Hargrove was talking about with Nagy, and the fact that he tries to nibble too much. I mean, he's got to challenge every once in a while, sooner or later, and especially with a guy like Sheffield in the on-deck circle, you got to challenge a guy like Renteria.
Called strike, full count.
This is a situation where Jim Leyland might want to put his runners in motion.
Johnson at second, White at first. They go on the 3-2 pitch, and now they can slow up. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Sheffield. Here's what he did his first time up. It's his 3rd homer of the postseason, all of them solo shots. Now he'll bat with the bases loaded. The Marlins trail 2-1, but making noise here in the top of the 3rd. Ball 1.
Take a look at the scouting report for Gary Sheffield. It's a great fastball hitter. You got to throw him breaking balls and off-speed pitches. He will chase pitches with 2 strikes, but you have to get ahead of him. And to do that, you have to throw a few strikes. He can handle the fastball and the curveball in the strike zone.
He lays off, and now he's ahead of him 2-0, and Nagy is working himself into a very difficult situation where he's going to have to come in with something to Sheffield, who's going to be in a spot where he can afford to sit on something, at least for a pitch or 2.
Well, the man he really had to go after was Renteria, and really tried to hit the corners and breaking stuff, off-speed stuff. Never challenged him. Now he's really in a jam with Sheffield.
3-0.
This is very good patience by Sheffield. That pitch there, you know, a lot of hitters would have gone after that 2-0, little sinker on the outside part of the plate. But he's shown a lot of patience in this postseason. That's one of the reasons that he's swinging the bat so well, because he's seeing it well.
I don't know if he's going to show any patience here. 3-0. Yep.
Called strike, 3-1. The switch hitter Bonilla is on deck. And now the 3-1 pitch. He walks in a run to tie the game. His 3rd consecutive walk. White, Renteria, and then Sheffield.
Well, he did not really want to challenge Gary Sheffield in this situation. He was hoping he could get him to go for something out of the strike zone. You'll see none of these pitches are real good pitches to hit. Even when he went to 3-0, he came on a fastball up and in on the inside part of the plate. But ball 4, I mean, he was 3-1. He was not about to give him something that he could hit. And you see, I think Mike Hargrove is telling him, if you're not going to throw strikes, you're going to be in trouble all night. And we need you to be more aggressive, go after the hitters. And like you're saying, he should have gone after Renteria. That was the guy that he wanted.
Absolutely. You know, in watching Alomar set up, Joe, with Nagy, he's setting up off the outside corner and takes Nagy to a count where he gets behind. Although that's not Alomar's fault. I mean, he's calling the pitches. If Nagy throws them, and again, you got to challenge. I mean, sooner or later, you got to bang, throw it in there, strike 1, then go from there.
Nagy has been a consistent winner throughout his career, but if there is a criticism of him, it's that sometimes he seems to pitch as if he doesn't believe in his own stuff.
You're right, and that's the thing that Hargrove was talking about, Bob, that he doesn't challenge.
Now Bonilla, who swings on the first pitch and rolls it foul. He grounded out his first time up. Coming into this game, he was 5 for 8 lifetime off Nagy. As you see, the postseason started very slowly for him. Then he broke out in Game 5 against Greg Maddux in the NLCS, and he's continued to hit since then.
Well, he started keeping his front shoulder in and not pulling off so many pitches.
The 0-1 pitch, it's sharply to Tomey. He gets one. They peg it back, and they get two on the very difficult 3-6-1 double play with Nagy covering at the back end. A tie game after 2.5. Tied at 2 as we move to the bottom of the third. Game time temperature 48 degrees. We've just been told the present wind chill is 29. Leiter to Vizquel. Ball 1. Omar, the latest in a series of slick fielding shortstops out of Venezuela that includes Chico Carrascal, Luis Aparicio, and Joe Morgan's ex-teammate Dave Concepcion.
And he's the fancy and the flashiest of the group. All of them were very good, and he's an excellent shortstop too.
Leiter's 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Vizquel began his career with Seattle and was a very fine player there, but they had Alex Rodriguez coming up through their system. So as good as Vizquel is, they had to trade him to make room for A-Rod. 3-1.
Well, the guy they made the deal for in bringing Vizquel here was Felix Fermin. Bob, remember him? Going to Seattle and winding up without a job out there. He became a utility player out there.
Joe West, no doubt, does not appreciate what just happened there. Vizquel crossing the plate, heading for first, and West says, no. Did I say ball 4? I said strike 2. In the air to center field. White coming in. And he has it. Let's go back to the inning-ending double play in the top of the third, made possible in part by the fact that Bobby Bonilla is hobbling with the hamstring.
Well, again, if this is not Bonilla running, they may not turn the double play. They get the easy force at second, and there's Charles Nagy. And they turn the double play on Bonilla. Again, he came out of the box fairly well, but as he was running down the line, he really started to pull up. There you see him running fairly well. Now he's pulling up. He's gone. And it's a double play, and Nagy got out of a very, very big jam.
A jam largely of his own making as he walked 3 in a row. But they score only 1. Ball 1 to Ramirez. Broken bat roller. Bonilla knocks it down, scrambles to pick it up, and now he has to eat it. That'll be the second error of the night for Florida.
Well, Bonilla has played very good defense in the postseason, and I don't think there's any doubt that his hamstring bothers him on this. See, he doesn't really push off that quickly to get over there, so he ends up trying to backhand it. He had time to get in front of it if he could have pushed off quick enough. Watch, he doesn't push off of that left leg. He just takes a couple of steps, tries to backhand it. But, you know, he's going to have problems catching ground balls. If you have a bad hamstring, you have problems because you can't bend or push off like you would want to.
David Justice walked his first time up. Plate ump Joe West rubbing his hands together, trying to generate some warmth.
A lot of teams are going to that defense where they have the first baseman off the bag. It really should not affect the base runner. You get your normal lead, and even if you want to, you can even take a lead a little behind the bag so that he can't get back there to you. So I don't think that really works to deter the runner from stealing the base, but I think it helps the first baseman get in fielding position.
Foul back 1-1. Al Leiter will turn 32 the day after tomorrow. For his entire career, he's been a markedly better pitcher at home, wherever home has been, than on the road. The difference in the figures is truly striking. 1-1 pitch. In the air to right, Sheffield going back to the track, nearly to the wall, makes the catch in front of the 375 sign, and Ramirez heads back to first.
And you can see the wind push that baseball. He jammed Justice, and if he wouldn't have jammed him, that ball would have gone way out of here. But he jammed him, and the ball just keeps carrying. And a good job by Sheffield. He never slowed down, so he keeps going back. Now he finds the wall, and he continues to go. That was a fine play by Sheffield because the wind really helped push that ball. It pushed it at least another 20 feet.
That ball is a real indicator because it was not hit well at all and traveled 370 some feet. Keep that in mind if someone should really get hold of one in that direction. The ballpark won't hold it. Fastball high to Williams.
Well, even a right-handed batter, Bob, there are a couple of right-handed hitters in both lineups that can reach that right field area very easily. Again, you got a 15-20 mile an hour wind blowing and gusting even better than that from time to time.
Take it back on the first pitch. Joe West disagreed with my call, and his opinion is the one that counts, so make it 0-1. That's a ball. Here's Justice's swing again.
And watch, this ball is in on him. You see him pull his elbows in trying to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. He couldn't get it there. He got jammed, but the ball just kept going back. See, Sheffield thought he was going to catch it 20 feet shorter than he actually caught it.
Ramirez, who reached on an error by Bonilla, is at first with 2 down in the bottom of the third. A 2-2 tie in game 3. The series tied at a game apiece. Toward the hole, Renteria from the outfield grass heads to second on a dandy play. Counsell covering, and that finishes the Indians in the third. Still a 2-2 tie. About a half an hour before tonight's first pitch, that's Jim Leyland waving to his 85-year-old mom, Veronica, who made the ride of about 90 miles from Perrysburg, Ohio, Jim's hometown. Now we're back live, and there's Veronica watching the game. Jim also has 4 brothers and a sister in attendance tonight. Darren Daulton starts it off against Nagy and takes a ball. He sent a 12-passenger limo to pick up friends and family members and drive them from Perrysburg to Cleveland for tonight's game. Daulton with a long drive to right, but it's foul. I asked him whether his mom knows very much about baseball or if she just roots for him. He said, Bob, let me put it this way. When I was with the Tigers, I told my mom I don't think I can coach for them this year because Sparky Anderson has Alex Grammas at third. In the air to right center and very well hit by Darren Daulton, and with the wind you can tell it goodbye. It's the second homer of the night for the Florida Marlins. Sheffield had one earlier. There was no way on a night like this that wasn't going to leave the yard.
Well, Sheffield's ball was actually into the wind because the wind was blowing from left field to right field. This one is blowing out to right field, and he hits it, and Daulton hit the ball pretty hard. This is more of a line drive. This is not really a fly ball. And see, that's a line drive. He hits that right out there on the sweet spot, and he gets enough of it to get it over the right field wall.
Remember we talked about Nagy earlier, Joe, about hanging breaking balls and the off-speed stuff? That one was right there for Daulton, and he nailed it. Here's the reaction by Charles Nagy. Yep. Right down the pipe and out of here.
He's trailing again, 3-2. And it's 0-2 to Moises Alou. So anyway, as I was saying, Leyland says to his mom, Sparky Anderson has Alex Grammas coaching third and Dick Trzewiski coaching first. I don't think there's any room for me. And Veronica says, well, son, couldn't you coach second? Pop wide of first, and Tommy doesn't have a play. So I asked Jim, will she really be able to follow the game tonight? She says, you know, he said she might not really know what's happening, but she'll be able to feel it. She'll be able to feel the emotion of it.
Well fortified against the cold. A very good idea tonight. 0-2 pitch. Center field, Grissom. Ramirez also there. Now Manny wants it in right center for the catch.
Now, pitching coach Mark Wiley was on the phone just a couple of minutes ago, and there's the reason why. Brian Anderson is up in the Indians bullpen.
A hearty soul pitching in shirt sleeves. Here's Eisenreich taking one low.
You don't think it's windy? It is. You may be able to hear it. That's not us breathing. That's the wind through the field microphones.
Fernandez can't flag this one down. A base hit for Eisenreich. So he's a comedy on NBC next Tuesday, including Just Shoot Me. A strike to Charles Johnson. He singled his first time up. The Marlins have reclaimed the lead on the Dalton home run. Oh, 0-2 to Johnson.
Well, for one of the few times tonight, Charles Nagy out in front of a Marlins batter. I mean, he's going after Johnson here.
One and two. Nagy pitched well his last time out. Although he allowed 9 hits and 7 1/3 at Baltimore, they didn't score off him. He was matched against Mike Messina. When he left, the game was still scoreless. And of course, the Orioles went on to win it in 11, 1-0 on the Tony Fernandez home run. The Indians. Did I say Orioles?
You're close. It was the same
close. It was one of the two. Had to be. My brain has frozen. The 2-2 pitch. Rolled slowly to the left side. Williams in front of Vizquel gets the force, but not the double play.
Well, this is a slow hit ball. It's not your normal double play speed, but Matt Williams makes a quick throw to second. Now, Tony Fernandez is able to get rid of this ball quickly because he was a shortstop. He's got a strong arm, so he can throw off balance and get enough on the ball to get it to first base. A lot of second basemen aren't able to make that throw. Here's Williams. He gives him the toss. Now watch, he's off balance, and he just flips it with nothing but his arm. He didn't have any body behind it, and that's the arm of a shortstop. That's why he can do that. And he won Gold Gloves at shortstop.
Counsell struck out his first time. It was almost miraculous that the Indians won both of those games in which Mike Messina of the Orioles pitched like Sandy Koufax. Somehow they did.
Tony Fernandez is kind of the captain of this infield. He's been around the longest, so you'll see him give the signs to Vizquel on who's covering second base in case of a steal here by Charles Johnson. Right there, open as you, closed as me, so it'll be the shortstop if he breaks on that. And the reason that's important is because if the shortstop's covering on a hit and run, you know exactly where you can hit the ball to get a base hit.
The 1-2 pitch. He's gone. But the home run by Dalton gives Florida the lead again. 3-2 as the Indians come up in the fourth. It says here that for a look inside the Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron, you can click on www.goodyear.com. And I say to myself, if you're clicking on to talk to Barry Larkin and then you want to look inside the Goodyear Blimp, when are you watching the game? Just wondering.
Must be a heck of a ride up there tonight with these winds.
Oh, man.
20, 25 miles an hour. Nice going, guys.
Leiter's got a lead again.
And he'll face Sandy Alomar in the bottom of the 4th. Alomar's broken bat single just beyond the reach of Edgar Renteria in shallow left gave the Indians a 2-1 lead in the 1st.
Leiter pretty much, Bob, staying right with what he did from the opening inning on. Basically away, and then bam, bam, bam inside on these right-handed batters. There's Johnson setting up inside.
There it is, and Alomar rips it into the seats.
Alomar asking the home plate umpire, Joe West, was that ball off the inside? West said, yeah. Tough pitch to hit fair.
Two balls and a strike. For his career, at home, whether home was with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, or the Marlins, Al Leiter is 34-13. But on the road, 21-33. That's a huge disparity. And it's reflected as well in the earned run averages. And this year was no different. 2.28 at home and almost 6.5 away. Go figure. Here's his 2-2 pitch to Alomar. Full count. And he walks him. That's the second walk issued by Leiter tonight. Control has always been a problem for him. Last year he led the National League in walks, even though he won 16 games. Let's go to Keith Olbermann.
How cold is it, Bob? Sandy Alomar could not get the donut off his bat before that last at bat, and only with the assistance of Charlie Manuel, the hitting instructor, and finally Jim Thome did he get his own bat, his #1 bat for the at-bat, as you see them switch it just before that last at-bat. So cold donuts here on the field, Bob.
You know, that's a problem. When you use a glazed donut, it tends to be sticky.
Yeah. Put a little pine tar on there before you dip it, a little pine tar before you taste.
Thome struck out his first time. Way high.
We got Thome out the first time up using sliders. He starts him off with a fastball this time, but I think you'll still see him go back to the breaking ball.
Cuts and misses 1-1.
Not a bad cut that time by Thome. He got him looking the first time up on a breaking ball on the outside corner. And again, as we mentioned, Thome against a guy like Leiter who doesn't have that really big breaking ball. Has it, but hasn't used it tonight. Again, Hargrove said he might have a better shot.
Threw it by him again. Leiter has such good stuff that he can pitch brilliant games, including the no-hitter in 1996 against the hard-hitting Colorado Rockies.
You're right. This is a fastball. This is the high fastball, 95 miles an hour. You're not going to catch up with that. I mean, that fastball there, look at it. 3-inch movement, caught the inner half of the plate. You're not going to handle that pitch if you're a left-handed hitter.
2-2. On the other hand, Leiter's history has been that he can come apart quickly. A walk here, a base hit there, and boom, a big inning.
And the reason for that is that when he gets in trouble, he does overthrow. He tries to throw too hard, and then he has to take a little off just to throw a strike, and he gets himself in trouble.
And he runs the count out full. He walked Alomar to start the inning. Now 3-2 on Thome.
Well, this crowd again, everybody here for the most part is standing. Joe, when you get locked in here on a 3-2 pitch, and if it's anywhere, I mean around the belt anyway, you talked earlier about Thome chasing upstairs. I mean, if it's anywhere around the belt, I mean, this guy, if he's not looking fastball, then he's going to be an out anyway. I mean, I'm looking fastball here and really trying to air it out.
I am of the belief you always look for the fastball and adjust to anything else.
He lays off. Second straight walk. 2 on, nobody out. Tomorrow on NBC, Game 4 of the series starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Again, of course, from Jacobs Field. The pitching coach, Larry Rothschild, comes trotting to the mound. And they decide this is a good time to just about hold a team meeting. All but the outfielders come to the mound.
Well, again, as Nagy did when the Marlins got him for a run back in the third, Nagy walked 3 in that inning. And here, Leiter has put Alomar and Tomei aboard.
Well, if I read Rothschild's lips correctly, he says don't throw him a first pitch fastball. So we'll see what he does here.
Nagy, for the moment, trailing 3-2. But his mates have something going here. Fernandez with Grissom on deck.
No, I didn't read lips too well. That was a cut fastball, but he said no, do not start him with a fastball.
They may just have been shivering too, Joe. That.
Well, but this is, you know, kind of typical of what gets Leiter in trouble.
Yep.
Whenever he gets in trouble, he overthrows. He tries to throw the ball too hard, and he ends up throwing a lot of high pitches. And occasionally they'll catch up with one of those high pitches.
2-0.
Everything has been upstairs this entire inning.
Leiter's second go-round in the World Series. Out of the Toronto bullpen in '93 as a starter for Jim Leland in Florida in '97. And if the rotations hold up, and if there is a Game 7, Leiter is the likely Game 7 pitcher for the Marlins. Whack to center field. White turns around and tracks it down. The runners tag, and both are going to move up. An especially good play by Tomei to move up from first to second.
Now there's a play where Devon White didn't get himself in the proper throwing position. He lazily went after that ball. I mean, you can watch Devon White do this time after time, and not to say that he's not a good outfielder, because he is, but this ball is drifting toward right center because of that wind blowing out there. There's Devon White with a very nonchalant catch, not thinking runners were going to tag at least one of them, but Tomei advances 2 on the long fly to right center. And here's Grissom.
In a situation where a single could give them the lead, one of the best hitters in series history, statistically the best, takes ball 1. 2 youngsters, Alfonseca and Heredia, get warm, or as warm as you can get on a night like this.
Well, they wanted to stay away from getting the ball around Grissom's knees.
Well, that's nowhere near his knees.
Well, he walked him the first time up trying to throw him high fastballs. He tried to get the ball up on him, and he finally got him to hit a double play, but you try to stay up. Remember, all the pitches we showed you he had hit were all down around the knees.
The 2-0.
This is Marquise Grissom's hit chart. I mean, almost, look at that, almost completely even. You can't pick where he's going to hit the ball.
To Grissom, who's 0 for 1 tonight, 5 for 8 in the series. He hit into a 4-6-3 double play his first time up tonight. They come to their feet at Jacobs Field on the 3-1 pitch, which is foul to the seats.
Pretty good pitch by Leiter that time, down around the inside corner on Grissom. He chased it, hit the foul ball. One more time. There it is, down. Grissom got a piece, fouls it to the right side, and he's run it full now. Here it is again, a good fastball by Leiter.
The payoff pitch. Walked him, and the bases are loaded.
Bibb Roberts has twice hit the ball back to Leiter. The first time, Leiter botched the play. Bibb reached on an error and later scored. The second time, he hit a blur back at him, and somehow Leiter caught it. That nearly hit it.
Now, that was one of those pitches where Roberts took a chance to turn his body inside to try and get Nick, but just missed him. Watch it again. Fastball inside, turned him around, and almost nailed him.
1-0 pitch, fouled off. Leiter hit 12 batters this year and 11 last year, so he will come inside, as we've been saying. That's part of his pitching pattern, and sometimes a little bit too far inside. Bases loaded, 1 out. And this will also make the seats.
I'll tell you what, he's running it up there now, and again, as Joe said, that pitch upstairs, that high fastball, I mean, you really got to get an early start on it, and it's awfully tough to get on top of it.
Gets him swinging on a clutch pitch down and in with the bases loaded, and look at Roberts' reaction.
Well, he threw 2 good high fastballs to get this sequence started. Watch this. Fastball in, then the high fastball that he fouls. He can't catch up with another high fastball he's late on, and then a slider down and in. He tries to hurry up to catch up with the fastball, and then you swing at a bad pitch. That was a good sequence there. Good pitch calling there by Charles Johnson.
It's up to Vizquel. They check down at first, and Greg Koss says no, ball 1.
That made everybody here at Jacobs Field happy. That call by Greg Koss. Again, pitch upstairs, and Vizquel checked.
The strikeout of Roberts was only Leiter's second, but it came when he needed it. Vizquel pops it back. Johnson has no play.
There you see Vizquel's strikeout ratio, 1 per 9 at bats during the season, 1 almost around every 4 at bats during the postseason. And so far, he has not been able to handle that fastball middle of the plate in from Leiter.
He's 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out, fly down. Here's the 1-1. 2-1. Alomar's at third. Tomey's at second. Grissom's at first. They all walked. Three balls and a strike.
Well, the one thing I've noticed about Vizquel in these types of situations, he makes you throw 2 strikes. He does not help you out by chasing a 3-1 pitch.
And he takes strike 2.
And that's, in my opinion, that's a wise move for a guy like Vizquel, who's not swinging the bat well. Make him throw 2 strikes and not 1 to get out of the jam.
Well, 7 times Leiter has run the count full in this game.
And Vizquel will make him throw another one.
Tried to take that ball to right field, a fastball around the outside, tried to poke it to right field and fouled it back. Again, Leiter with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Watch Vizquel try to take that ball to right field.
And we'll do it all over again. With the runners going on 3 and 2, of course, and Grissom, the trailing runner at first base, anything hit toward the lines or in the gaps would probably score Marquise from first. He walks home the 3rd Indian run. Without a hit, Cleveland ties the game on 4 walks in the bottom of the 4th.
And that was a good at-bat for Vizquel. He took the 3-1 pitch and made him have to throw some more strikes. And he gets the job done. He gets a run in.
Now they'll have to deal with Manny Ramirez. Five walks for Leiter tonight, 4 of them in this inning. Ramirez rolls it slowly. Bonilla coming in. Throws, double clutches, the ball gets away. 1 run is home. Now here comes Grissom, 2 runs score. He had a play if he made it cleanly. Once he double clutched, he might have been better off holding it.
Well, it's only a matter of time before, if you have an injury out there or something bothering you, that you're going to make a mistake. You see right there, he is off balance. You see he's not bending down. I mean, it's just a tough play for a guy that's injured, especially when you have a bad hamstring. I mean, he does a good job of getting to it, but you can see him dragging that leg. And then he tries to throw off of his right leg. He doesn't want to throw off his left leg, and he throws it in the dirt.
Well, it's the second time that Ramirez has reached on an error by Bonilla. He did it back in the 3rd with 1 man out. Didn't cost him there. But here in the 4th inning, very costly. And the Indians on top. Talked about this Marlin defense being so solid, and it has been. But tonight, 3 very costly errors.
2 of the 3 figuring in the scoring. It's 5-3 Cleveland as Justice takes a ball.
You talked, Bob, at the top of the telecast about Leiter and his control. Talked about 4 to 5 walks per game. That's his average, and he's right on course tonight.
Or worse. Fouled off 1-1. Four of the 5 Cleveland runs are unearned. And the one that wasn't unearned scores as a result of 4 walks. So they haven't exactly hammered Leiter. This is the kind of outing that sends you to the ledge. You say to yourself afterwards, you know, I had good stuff. My defense, and I was part of it in the 1st inning with my own error, and my wildness, that's what did me in.
Yep. Well, you're right. He does have good stuff, but he's not able to get it over the plate often enough, especially in this inning. But when you have something out, a troublesome spot out there, the ball will always find you, and that ball chopped in with Bonilla was just a tough play.
The 1-2 pitch slashed at Bonilla. He goes to his knees, hikes it to Counsell, and finally, they're out of the inning. But the Indians get 3, and they'll take them any way they can get them. They have the lead.
Welcome back to the World Series. I'm Jim Gray. I'm now joined by Veronica Leland, the 85-year-old mother of Jim Leland. She made the trip up here. Mrs. Leland, how proud of you are you of your son, and how much does this mean to you that he finally made it to the World Series?
It means a great deal to me because I've been wanting this for a good long time.
Did you ever have any doubts? There were so many disappointments. Did you ever doubt that he would make it here?
No, I really felt that his day would come.
Now he tells us that you follow the games, you have a feel for the games. You do have some trouble seeing the game, however. Do you ever give him any advice?
Well, not really.
How come?
Because I wouldn't want to in a situation like that.
Now your son Tom and 4 of his brothers are here tonight, 1 sister. He's giving you the play-by-play so you're able to follow the game, correct?
That's right.
Mrs. Leland, congratulations to you. We hope it all works out the best for Jim.
Well, thank you.
All right, Bob, let's send it back upstairs to you.
Thanks, Jim Gray. Tom Leland, mentioned by Jim, is a priest who married Jim and Katie Leland back in 1987, performed the service. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Devon White, leading off in the 5th.
Nagy's in front now, 5-3.
For a moment there, I thought you were going to say Tom Leland married so-and-so. I'm like, wait a minute, this can't happen.
That would be a first.
That can't happen.
Had there been some sort of ruling from Rome that had somehow skipped past us? 3-2.
There's Tom. Father Tom.
The 3-2 pitch is skied to center. Grissom goes back and has it lined up. We mentioned that many of Jim Leland's family members and friends made the drive from Perrysburg, Ohio in a 12-passenger limo he sent for them. When he came up to the major leagues as a coach for Tony La Russa with the White Sox sent a limo to take him to the ballpark. He got in the limo after all those years in the minor leagues. A ball to Edgar Renteria. The driver looked back over his shoulder and said, "First time in a limo?" And Jim said, "Yeah, unless you count the one I drove for the Perrysburg mortuary." Through the middle, base hit.
I got a kick out of the story, too, the same story in that same line, Bob, where he said when he joined the White Sox, he had a $72 ticket, airplane ticket, when he joined the Sox, and he handed it in to the White Sox front office, and they asked him if he ran. You didn't really take a plane, did you? You must have run for $72.
He said, "Hey, you're in the big leagues now. You can go first class. You don't have to save us money by getting those super savers."
$72 gets you on the wing, outside, hanging on.
Well, Sheffield comes to the plate as the tying run. He's homered and walked. Renteria at first with one out. And a called strike.
Sheffield hit a fastball for his home run in the first inning. Now he starts him off here with a curveball. But he can handle a curveball if you throw it in the strike zone.
There's one. Low throw, but Tomey's got it. And the 6-4-3 finishes Sheffield and the Marlins in the fifth. Jim Leland came into Cleveland knowing that the Indians were going to face the softer side of his rotation. First Al Leiter, then tomorrow the rookie Tony Saunders, both left-handers. Leiter trails 5-3 as he works in the fifth, and Matt Williams takes one high and away. The ball Manny Ramirez hit that Bobby Bonilla threw away in the fourth originally was scored as an error all the way. Now it's been changed, charitably perhaps, to an infield single plus an error. Williams grounds it foul. So 3 of the 5 runs rather than 4. Now 3 of the 5 runs scored by Cleveland are unearned. The 1-1 pitch. Already at 100 pitches, and this is the first batter in the fifth.
He's safe to say that he will not finish this ball game.
Both these teams have gotten great relief pitching throughout the postseason. Middle, setup, and closing. That takes care of Matt Williams to start the fifth.
Well, one of the reasons he has so many pitches is in the fourth inning. I mean, he walked 4 hitters. And here's ball 4 on every one of them. That's Alomar to start the inning. Tomey, Grissom, and the one that hurt the most, Vizquel, he walked in a run right there. So his wildness is the reason that he has thrown so many pitches.
Alomar has an RBI single and a walk. Strike 1 to him.
And again, Leiter with breaking stuff, 89 miles an hour that time on that cutter. to Alomar. His velocity isn't down. I mean, he's still throwing in the 90s with a fastball, but pretty much all over the place.
This is the first inning that he's thrown any curveballs. He threw a curveball to strike Max Williams out, and he comes with an overhand curveball here to Sandy Alomar Jr. I mean, this has always been one of his better pitches, that overhand curveball.
This ball is chopped over Leiter. He gets a piece of it, charging Renteria. He nearly throws it away. Dalton lunges to come up with it. And Alomar's at first.
Well, that's probably going to be scored a base hit again. Another tough play for Leiter on Roberts back in the opening inning. Easy bouncing ball. He committed an error, and it led to a big inning. Here's another one. This ball probably could have been handled. It went off the thumb of his glove, and by the time Renteria could finally pick it up, look at Leiter. He knows he should have made the play. Renteria's throw pulled Dalton off the bag. And Alomar is going to reach on what probably will be scored as a base hit. It is. That is not the Leiter side of Al there. He's upset.
Thome takes ball one. Well, there haven't been that many balls hit well off Leiter tonight. But a combination of walks, errors, plays that weren't scored errors but might have been made, have led to a lot of trouble for him. Fastball high, 2-0.
You know, it almost seems like he's running into a danger zone here with Thome. He's been behind on him every time he's been up there. He's retired him once on a strikeout, walked him back in the fourth, but always behind, and Thome with a chance to rip at him.
And he does rip it to deep right field and gone.
He had on it. It was in the 90s, but Thome knew it as soon as he hit it. It was out of here. One more time. Here it is. High fastball. You can't keep doing it to a guy like Thome who hit 40 for the regular season. And the Indians are up by 4.
The reaction on the Cleveland bench as they take a 7-3 lead. Justice and Hershiser.
Well, he had been 1 for 10 starting before tonight's ball game against Leiter. That one hit he had was a home run.
The 1-1 to Fernandez. Broken back roller. Bonilla again. This time he's got him. Dalton barely staying on the bag. Remember, coming up for most of you after the game, your late local news, then the Tonight Show. But for those of you who want more baseball, you can join Keith Olbermann and Hannah Storm for the World Series postgame show, available immediately after the last pitch on CNBC. A happy Jim Thome. 2 home runs in this World Series. Hadn't hit one since September 14th coming into this series. 2-0 to Grissom.
Well, it still makes you wonder how you could take a guy like that out of the lineup who had 40 home runs, because he's always a threat.
3-0. Taking all the way and taking a stroll to first.
Well, sooner or later, it's got to be time for Leiter. Here comes Jim Leyland. And the change has been made, Bob.
After he issues his 6th walk of the night, so he couldn't get them through the 5th.
This is what just about finished him. 2 batters later, he was officially gone, and so are we for a moment. The young Dominican left-hander Felix Heredia comes on, facing switch hitter Bip Roberts. With Grissom at first, the 6th man walked tonight by Leiter. And the last man, as it turned out, that he faced, Jim Leyland, had seen enough. Roberts is 0 for 3. Hops one wide of first, over near the visitors' dugout, and in the seats. Dave Nelson, the first base coach for the Indians, is mic'd. Let's listen in.
Okay, right here, you're on your own now. Just use good judgment. You're going to steal. You got to get one of those Joe Morgan jumps. You know what I'm talking about? I know it's good, Charles.
Dave with a shameless effort to ensure himself some airtime by sucking up here. This ball is smacked toward the gap. Sheffield turns and has it. So Roberts is retired. But 2 more on the Thome homer. 7-3 Tribe. Bonilla leads off in the 6th. A tough night for him so far.
Well, it's very difficult to play this game when you're 100% healthy, let alone when you have leg problems. But he hits into a double play with the bases loaded. And this was the tough play because anytime you're injured, the ball seems to find you on defense if you're out there. And that one really hurt. And that's, you know, you're trying to play at less than 100%.
That was his 2nd error of the night. Leiter also made one. So 3 in the E column for Florida. A big part of the reason they trail 7-3. Nagy with some breathing room as Bonilla fouls it off.
I know you do not want to DH, meaning Bobby Bonilla, but when you're injured and it's tough to play in the field, sometimes you may have to, you know, give in to your ego or your pride a little bit and DH. This is one of the things you do in the dugout. You try to warm up your bat, warm up the wood and your gloves. There's a heater above there, and you just warm everything up before you go to the plate.
Depends on who you are, too, because they stuck mine up there. They let them burn.
Did they at least give you an urn with the ashes in it?
So I got hit with a box of ashes here.
Here's the 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, he did.
He's out on strikes.
Things are getting worse for Bobby Bonilla. And again, you feel in a way for him because of the fact that he's got the hamstring problem. Again, the sequence by Nagy: fastball fouled away, fastball outside, breaking ball hit foul up along first. There's a check swing on a splitter, and they struck him out. But again, I agree with you, Joe. I think there are times when discretion is the better part of valor, when you may have to sit and DH, do the DH.
They definitely need his bat in the lineup.
Absolutely.
A ball to Dalton, who's hit the ball hard twice. He lined to Ramirez in right, then hit one where no one could catch it into the seats in right center. The home run gave the Marlins a brief 3-2 lead, but they trail now 7-3.
Joe West working balls and strikes tonight, and it's called a good ball game. I mean, he's working both ways. Those pitches off the corner, they're balls, both pitchers. Yep.
On 4 pitches, Dalton walks.
You said a minute ago, Bob, with Nagy now having a little more breathing room, but again, he's back to that little pattern that he started tonight's game off with, kind of nibbling a little bit with a 4-run lead.
He's walked 4 and he's struck out 4. And let's head to Jim Gray. He's got some info on Bobby Bonilla.
All right, Bobby Bonilla is electronically hooked up the back of his thigh and his hamstring into one of those electronic stimuluses. And every time that he is out of the game, he comes back into the dugout, and all he has to do is plug it in, as you see right there, just off to the left side of his hip. Bob?
A ball to Moises Alou as Nagy's control deserts him a bit here in the 6th, working with a 4-run lead. And that's going to bring Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, out of the dugout.
Remember before the game when Mike Hargrove told us about himself, we asked him about sitting in the dugout, and when you got a lead in the ball game, are you calm, or you relaxed a little bit? He said, heck no. He said, you keep thinking ahead in the game to all of the things that could possibly happen to you. As the bullpen gets busy again with Brian Anderson, he said all of the things that could possibly happen to you come to your mind in those situations. Here he's got the 4-run lead. Wiley's out there talking to him, and Anderson getting ready in a hurry, Bob.
Hargrove's Indians threw only 4 complete games during the entire season, and he said tonight, all I'm hoping for is that Nagy gets us to the 7th.
Right.
The truth is, with Jack McDowell down since May with an injury, with Orel Hershiser at age 39, not the great pitcher he once was, still very effective. John Smiley broke his arm. Nagy, not the pitcher who went 17-5 a year ago. They don't have a true ace, and yet somehow in this postseason they have won games started against them by David Cone, by Andy Pettit, by Kevin Brown, and twice they won games in which Mike Mussina was masterful against them. They found a way to win.
He made an interesting observation to me, and he said he would rather have a great bullpen than a great starting staff. He said because he has more flexibility in the bullpen. You can use guys at different times and a lot more often. So this kind of plays into the way this team is built. More of a bullpen style team.
The 1-2 to Alou is hit down the left field line and fouled. Let's look at what these bullpens have done in the postseason. Both Leland and Hargrove have gotten terrific work out of their relievers. Called strike 3. Alou walks away shaking his head.
Well, it's the second time that he's gotten Alou tonight on a called 3rd strike. He did it back in the 2nd. One more time, there it is. Here's the sequence to him. Breaking ball down low off the outside corner. There's the line drive foul, and a fastball right there to finish him off.
Which brings up Eisenreich, who hits the ball deep to right, and Eisenreich has connected. Goodbye. First pitch, and just like that, Florida's back in it at 7-5.
And Mike Hargrove's worries are a reality right now. That's what he talked about. You would have thought David Justice would be the man tonight in the DH role. We talked about it earlier. But it's Jimmy Eisenreich with his 2nd base hit. This time a 2-run homer, and he got it all. This pitch is upstairs from Nagy. Watch this. High fastball, I mean right in the wheelhouse, and he knocked it out of here. Eisenreich got it all. And there's the Marlins bench. They're back in this thing now. It's 7-5.
Charles Johnson takes a breaking ball low. 2 out and 2 runs home in the 6th. A 7-5 game. There's a professional hitter right there. Eisenreich hit over 300 each of the last 4 years for the Phillies. Was in the '93 World Series with them against Toronto. When you're the DH, you hold on to the lumber, especially when it's just done good work, as Eisenreich did with that last swing.
My bases on balls have been a nightmare tonight, both for Nagy and Leiter, who has since departed. 1-out walk to Dalton, and Eisenreich knocks him in.
2-2 as Johnson couldn't hold up. Slow roller right side. Fernandez juggles it, picks it up, shovels it to Tomey, and gets him. But it's a game again in the middle of the 6th. With their lead trimmed to 7-5,
The Indians come up in the 6th with Vizquel, Ramirez, and Justice due against Felix Heredia in relief of Al Leiter.
Another one of those hardy souls. Heredia without a long sleeve shirt on tonight.
Two and 0. These two names are almost certain to figure in this game, and they have been brilliant in the postseason. Dennis Cook of the Marlins, who has retired 21 of the 24 hitters he's faced in this postseason, allowing only 2 walks and a hit batter, hasn't allowed a hit in 7 innings of work. And Mike Jackson out of the bullpen for Cleveland, 10 innings of work in the postseason, no runs, 13 strikeouts. If this is a close game before we get to the closers, those two guys, one or the other, could very well decide it.
There's Dennis Cook. He may get his turn here very shortly.
The 2-2 pitch to Vizquel. In on his fists and fouled off.
Actually, this would be a better situation for Dennis Cook than Mike Jackson, because the wind blowing to right field, Mike Jackson might be at a disadvantage a little bit against some of these left-handed hitters on the Marlins.
Full count.
The balls that have been hit to right field, that have been hit out to right field, were not wind aided. I mean, they didn't need much help. They were hit.
Leadoff walk.
Let's take a look at the play that ended the top of the 6th inning for the Marlins. This is Tony Fernandez, and this is the reason that you run out all the ground balls. Even on a routine play, you may have a chance of beating it. But Charles Johnson does not get out of the box, and he actually never got up to full speed. And Fernandez was able to bobble it and still come up and make the play. So you always run out the ground balls, even when they look like they're routine.
Manny Ramirez. Way high for ball 1. Manny's 1 for 3, and we go to Keith Olbermann.
Bob, Indians manager Mike Hargrove is not happy with the fact that the umpires are letting Gil Heredia of the Marlins get his fingers very close to his mouth as he tries to keep them warm. The allegation from this end is that he is actually licking the tips of his fingers rather than merely blowing on them to keep them warm.
Here's his 1-0 pitch to Ramirez. In the air toward the right field line. Sheffield going over. No play.
We're getting to that point in the night where if indeed Heredia does go to his mouth to lick his fingers, they may stay there. That's what he's saying. He's done it twice now, gone to his mouth.
On a cold night, the umpires will allow you to blow onto your hand while you're standing on the mound. You don't have to go off the mound to do it as you would under other circumstances, but you're not allowed, as Hargrove is saying, not allowed to lick your fingers.
But he could walk off the mound itself and get on the grass and lick his fingers, so he can do it if he feels it's necessary for him to pitch well.
Steps off and looks Vizquel back.
And he walked off the mound to the grass to do it then.
Down and in. 2 balls and a strike. Good fastball out of the strike zone, but it had some hop on it, and Ramirez chased it.
He has a very good fastball, and he has a lot of movement on his fastball. This one is up and out of the strike zone, and Ramirez trying to catch up with it, can't do so. And you take a look at what it looks like on supervision. It got a lot of the plate, but it was up and out of the strike zone.
The 2-2 pitch. A little pop into right. Sheffield for the catch. Folks, here it comes, that NBC original. Now David Justice, who's walked, flied to deep right, and grounded to third. David DHing tonight and in the cleanup spot. A strike from Heredia. A little roller up the first baseline. Dalton has it and tags Justice.
Well, a good fastball that time by Heredia. Jammed Justice with that little roller. They pitched him well tonight. They've gotten inside on David a number of times. He hit one ball well back in the third, but other than that, good pitch by Heredia, the tag by Dalton, and Justice is gone.
Vizquel moves up into scoring position on the play with 2 out.
See that Matt Williams is basically a pull hitter, but every once in a while he will go to right field.
Had an RBI single in the first, robbed of a hit by Renteria in the third, struck out in the fifth. Ball 1. Until they won game 2 of this series 6-1, all of Cleveland's victories in the postseason had been close. 7 victories, 6 of them by 1 run, and the other by 2 runs. Leading 7-5 here in the 6th. For those of you enjoying the game in the comfort of your own homes and curious about the discomfort of those in attendance here, the temperature has fallen to 44 degrees and the wind chill, David Neal, our producer, will tell me, is down to what? 25. The 2-0 pitch. 3-0 to Williams. And if the wind chill is 25, you have to figure that the ice cream concession would be suffering, but at least one customer says, yeah.
First one tonight.
Let me have a scoop. Too long a line for hot chocolate, I'm guessing.
I think it'll last for an hour just looking at it.
The 3-0. A green light and he fouls it off. Vizquel leading away from second. He walked to open the inning. Heredia's 3-1 pitch to Williams. Tipped back into Johnson's glove. 3-2.
Well, he's gone to 3-0. He's made 2 excellent pitches, fastballs away from Matt Williams. This is a fastball right on the outside corner, and Matt Williams cannot catch up with it. Take a look in supervision. Look at this, right out there on the outside corner.
The 3-2. Smash. Bonilla dives to smother it. Throws across the diamond to Dalton. What a play.
Unbelievable.
Well, Bob Bobby Bowe has had his troubles tonight, but looked like Brooks Robinson on that one.
2 errors in this game so far, but watch this great play. The play was made by the throw. Look at this throw on one knee accurately across the diamond. Not much movement here. The ball's hit sharply, so he goes down to block it. Now he throws off over his right knee all the way across, and he throws a strike to Darren Dalton. Look at this. I mean, he doesn't move very much. He can't move. He's got a bad hamstring. But once he makes this play, I mean, that is a tough and difficult throw to make. But he makes it, and you see that the players greet him in the dugout. They know that he's giving it his all out there.
Nagy is done, and Brian Anderson, 25-year-old left-hander, former Angel, comes on. Spent part of the year with Cleveland's AAA minor league team in Buffalo. All of his regular season appearances were starts, 8 of them, but he was used out of the bullpen in the postseason and has pitched very well. In 3 appearances, he's 1-0 with an ERA of 1.42 in the postseason. He was the pitcher of record when Tony Fernandez hit the pennant-winning homer in Baltimore in Game 6, so he picked up the win. Jose Mesa, of course, finished it. The 2-1 to Counsell is in there.
Well, he's staying right with the fastball. Missed with 1 breaking ball on Counsell. Comes back with a good fastball, knee high to even the count.
Broken bat liner into the seats, and Counsell back to the dugout for new lumber. Which gives us a chance to tell you that there's more NFL action coming your way Sunday on NBC. It's a doubleheader beginning at noon Eastern with the pregame show. Then in the first half of the doubleheader, most of the country will see John Elway and the Broncos taking on Buffalo, as well as those other games which you saw listed. Jacksonville-Pittsburgh is a big one as a potential second game of the doubleheader, depending upon which game is shown in your area. Check your local listings. Buffalo winning a less than scintillating Monday night game last night against Indianapolis. Denver absorbing its first defeat of the season the day before against the Raiders.
Trying to bounce back.
Now the 2-2 pitch to Counsell. Popped up, looks like it's out of play, and it is. According to Jeff Sleed, who along with Elliot Kalb is assisting us here in the booth, Brian Anderson sports 6 tattoos. The only thing we can say with authority is that none of them appear to be on his forearms, since he's pitching without the sweatshirt, so they are in other undisclosed locations, a half dozen of them. And our investigation will stop there. 2-2 pitch, line down the right field line, in there. Ramirez over to cut it off and hold Counsell to a single.
Tell you what, that was really good hitting there by Counsell, because he fought off a lot of fastballs, had not seen a curveball, and he threw him a curveball and he rips it down the right field line. Good hitting here. His approach is proper, and that is keeping that front shoulder in, and he just rips this ball down the line. They're lucky they're playing him to pull, because that should have been extra bases. I'm a little surprised that they were playing him down the line that close to the right field line.
Devon White, the switch hitter, turns around to the right side. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Ball 1 from Anderson.
That breaking ball that Counsell hit, Joe, was up about waist high and jumped all over it.
The Indians lead at 7-5 as the Marlins bat in the 7th. A broken bat. Fernandez has it. Throws White out, and Counsell moves on to second.
And the play by Tony Fernandez. No chance to get Counsell at second. If indeed he did try, he takes the batter and the easier play in Devon White. This is a broken bat. Here it is again. The barrel end of that bat flew back behind home plate and hit the screen. There's Fernandez with the easy flip to first. White's gone with a runner moving to second. Watch this. Watch the barrel end of that bat. Back to the screen. And Devon White Took the rest of it along with him to no avail. Anyway, a pitching change coming up.
Here comes the aforementioned Mike Jackson with Renteria and Sheffield, the next two scheduled hitters. Mike Hargrove's hope was that Brian Anderson could work a perfect inning. If Renteria was coming up with 2 outs and nobody on, he probably would have let Anderson pitch to him and then hoped to begin the 8th with Mike Jackson coming out of the bullpen to face Sheffield. But when Counsell opened the inning with a hit, he let Anderson pitch to White because White is less dangerous right-handed, and then he has to go to Jackson here with a runner at second, Renteria at the plate, and Sheffield waiting on deck. Renteria is the tying run at the plate, though not much of a home run threat. He hit only 4 during the year. Hits this one sharply and through the middle. They'll be within 1. Counsell is being waved home. Grissom's throw is cut off, and it's 7-6.
Excellent base running there by Renteria and also Counsell. He made them cut the ball off because if they wouldn't have cut it off, Renteria was going down to second base and he would have been in scoring position. Well, he takes his first fastball. Mike Jackson's best pitch is a slider, but he was trying to get ahead with a fastball, and he hits it right back through the middle for a base hit. And Marquise Grissom came up and fired to the plate. Luckily for the Indians, the ball is low enough that Thome can leap up and cut it off, and that kept Renteria from going to second base.
Suddenly, it's a 1-run game, and here's Sheffield. A called strike. Renteria, who stole 32 bases this season, is at first, representing the tying run. 1 out in the 7th. 1-1 to Sheffield, who homered into the teeth of the wind in the first inning. Since then, he's gotten credit for an RBI by walking with the bases loaded, and he hit into a 6-4-3 double play. One pitch hammered to deep center field. Grissom on the run. It short hops the wall. It's going to tie the game. Renteria being waved home on the double by Sheffield. 7 up.
Again, excellent base running by Renteria. He never slowed down. As soon as that ball was hit, he took off from first base and was coming all the way around to score. And that's why Gary Sheffield is the most dangerous hitter in this lineup. He can handle any types of pitches. Mike Jackson tries to sneak a fastball by him on the inside part of the plate, and he rips it over the head of Grissom. See, Grissom doesn't even go after it. He knows he can't get there. He plays the carom, trying to hold Renteria at third, but Renteria did a great job of just running right from the time the ball was hit.
Bobby Bonilla now with a chance to redeem himself with the lead run out at second.
Pickoff play. Sheffield dives back in.
There's the Marlins bench following that big base hit by Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield ties the game.
Bonilla with a chance to untie it.
Joe, both of the base hits given up by Jackson here on fastballs. We know his best pitch is a slider, but both times fastballs upstairs.
Again, and Sheffield back standing.
Well, there's a play at second base where, you know, if you're not going to really put something on the ball, why even make a throw? Vizquel got there, and Jackson looked like he didn't want to make a throw, but did. A token throw.
It's the first time in this postseason that Mike Jackson has not come through for Cleveland. Now his 1-0 pitch to Bonilla. Bobby Bo is 0 for 3.
And he has gone out of the strike zone on numerous occasions in these first 2 ball games, although he thinks he says he's swinging the bat well.
Wouldn't chase that one. 2-1.
Again, Joe West has really been tight with that outside corner in both ways. I mean, the pitches are slightly off, and that's what he's calling. Got to be right on the corner to get the strike.
A 7-3 Indian lead has evaporated. Tied at 7. Bonilla tips it foul, 2-2. Thomey's homer in the last of the 5th made it 7-3. There was a man aboard when he connected. But the Marlins get 2 in the 6th on the Eisenreich homer, and 2 more here in the 7th to tie it. Full count.
Well, Mike Jackson tried to run that fastball away again and get him to swing at something off the plate. This will be a slider. He will not try to come back with another fastball. So he wants Bonilla to chase this or at least look away. Now he can try to break something off inside. He'll throw him the slider on a 3-2 count.
Well, if you know that, shouldn't Bonilla know it?
Yes. That's my short answer. Well, he didn't do it.
It looked like a fastball, which he hoists foul and into the seats.
That was a fastball. But Mike Jackson has been hit hard on his fastball. I don't know why he continues to come with the fastball, because he's thrown, that's a fastball.
Or even try and really get inside Joe on Bonilla here. Again, with the slider, there was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. 4 inches coming down. Yeah.
Between pitches, Bonilla keeps stepping out of the box and jumping up and down like he's doing jumping jacks, just trying to stay loose.
Well, this is a slider.
And it's hit toward the hole. Thomey knocks it down. At first can't find it. Gets it to Jackson in time.
And Bonilla really hustled that ball out, and you can see he's running down the right field line, because that hamstring has to be on fire about now.
It's a heck of a play by Jim Thomey to save a base hit and an RBI. There's the diving stop. He knocked it down, finally finds it, and now with Jackson covering. Boy, how many times do you work on that play throughout the year, throughout spring training? When that ball is knocked down, you've got to get there, and you've got to wait. You've got to wait for that first baseman to make the play, to pick the ball up. You've got to hold the bag. There's the toss by Thomey, and that's just what Jackson did. And there you see Bobby Bonilla. He's really limping.
Well,
limping badly.
I think we got both people hurt here. That was a slider down and in. Bobby Bo ran it out. Now Jackson's getting some attention at the mound as well. Here's that slider down and in, and a nice stop there by Jim Thomey. Jackson hustling all the way, gets to first base. Thomey gets him the ball in time. Bonilla's on fire, and so is Jackson. Their legs are hurting both of them.
Did he step on Jackson?
Here comes Bonilla. He's flying down the line. Now Jackson did a nice job of taking the throw and moving away from the bag, but he had some attention behind the mound. It seemed like his leg was bothering him. It seemed like it was his right leg. And there you see Bobby Bonilla trying to stretch his out.
Jackson takes a few warm-up tosses, declares himself okay, and now he'll face Dalton, or perhaps not. They're going to walk him. As Dalton takes 4 high and wide, it's worth noting, here's a guy who came very close to retiring prematurely because of all the injuries. He's had 9, count them, 9 knee surgeries. Began the year with the last place Phillies, one of the most popular players in recent Philadelphia history. What a great leader.
You're right.
A gritty guy, respected by everyone, opponents and teammates alike. He was the subject of trade rumors involving the Orioles at midseason. That never materialized. He winds up in Florida and in the World Series with the Marlins.
Let's take a look at Moises Alou and what he has to do here with Mike Jackson. We've seen him take a curveball the other day. This is a curveball. Now watch what happens. He pulls off on it. He doesn't quite get it. Then he stays in on the fastball away, and it hits it in the alley. He's going to have to keep that front shoulder in.
Tonight he struck out twice and flied out. A base hit would give Florida the lead. He lifts it to center. Grissom calls. On the first pitch, Alou is done. And and so are the Marlins, but not before they score twice. 7-7 in the 7th. The view from the Goodyear blimp Spirit of Akron. At the controls tonight, Patrick Henry. Don't ask. Bottom of the 7th. Felix Heredia still in there. Sandy Alomar takes ball 1.
Well, the Marlins have out hit the Indians tonight 9-6, tied here in the 7th inning at 7 apiece.
And Sandy rifles a foul down the right field line.
Mike Jackson, for the first time in the postseason, has been hit and hit hard.
Two balls and a strike. As you saw, Alomar is hitting a rather modest .259 in the postseason. But the number that matters is the 12 RBIs.
And he's
and
done
the 4 home runs.
Say, Bob, done a good job behind the plate, too.
Real good. The 2-1. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, here you are again, that situation. 3 balls and a strike. And a guy like Alomar, we've seen him hit balls out in right and in left. And again, he's not ashamed to go the other way. They play him around to left. There's a major gap in right center for him, for Alomar.
Dangerous pitch for Heredia. And it's popped up back of first. Counsell and Dalton near the seats and in the seats. The wind just kept blowing that away from them. At first they thought they might have a play. It winds up about 10 rows in.
That's the one thing I think, Joe, that I think everybody has noticed in Alomar this year, the fact that in difference to previous years, he's taking pitches. I mean, if you give him something on the outside, he doesn't try to pull it anymore. He goes that way, and he knows he can hit it out that way. And it's really changed him as a hitter.
Including a huge home run of Mariano Rivera in the division series that saved Cleveland. 3-2 pitch, belted the other way. Sheffield turns to the track for the catch.
Well, that one got in on him just a little bit. It was up, but he could not handle it as well as he'd like. And he says something to Heredia as they go by. They have a little smile there. Here's a fastball. Now watch it. That ball got in on his hands just a little bit. Watch, he doesn't get it out on the meat of the bat. And that's why he couldn't get it out of here. A lot of wind out there, but Sheffield able to make the catch.
Which brings up Thome. As you say, he said something to Heredia as he passed him, no doubt in Spanish, and the translation probably was something like, another inch or two, baby, and you were mine.
I missed you. I'll be back.
In there, 1-1. In the Florida bullpen, Howell and Cook. Is this a case of mind over matter? Almost all these pitchers tonight in shirt sleeves. Thome with a drive. He's hit one earlier. Sheffield's going back. Sheffield to the wall with a leap. He caught it. The play of the series. The play of the World Series from Gary Sheffield.
Well, this is a high fastball again, and I mean, he drills it to right center field. And Gary Sheffield times his leap perfectly here. See, he's following it all the way, knows where the wall is, and he leaps up and makes the catch. This is just a great catch by Sheffield. I mean, he timed everything perfectly.
I don't know if that ball would have went out of here, Joe. It would have been an extra base hit for sure. And Sheffield a lot of times doesn't get credit for his outfield play. But this is a beauty here. Again, he took a look at the wall, saw where it was, made his leap, and made a heck of a catch. What a play. Yep.
Now the 0-1 to Fernandez. As we watch it again, it would not have been a home run. It would have been just beneath the yellow line and off the top of the wall for extra bases.
His glove went over the top after he made the catch, but that ball would have hit below the line.
Hit sharply to short. Renteria's up with it. A 1-2-3 inning, but certainly not an uneventful one. Thome thought he had his second homer of the night. Sheffield had other ideas. On to the 8th at Jacobs Field, Game 3 of the World Series, tied at 7.
Boy, what a ball game here. Finally a ball game, and big time hitting. You know, you would think it would come from the Indians, the home runs. I mean, the power and everything else, but it's been the Marlins tonight. And what a catch by Sheffield.
You thought it was gone when it left Thome.
I thought it was gone. I mean, I really did. When he caught it, I thought he had jumped over the wall and caught it.
A new pitcher for the Indians, the veteran left-hander Paul Ossenmacher comes on. And Kurt Abbott is going to be the pinch hitter. Eisenreich in the DH spot, the scheduled leadoff man. He homered his last time up, but with the left-hander in there, they go to the right-handed hitting Abbott, who takes down and in for ball 1. Nope. They checked down at first. They said he went around. Abbott hit .274 with 6 home runs for the year. Now he's behind in the count, 0-2.
Well, there's the pitch that Ossenmacher really loves to throw. It's his bread and butter pitch. Good curveball, spots the fastball, and tries not to get beat with the fastball. I mean, his curveball is nasty, off the outside or down and in. Either way.
Fastball high, and he swings late. So Ossenmacher fans the first man he faces. Another reminder, for most of you immediately after the game, it's your late local news, then the Tonight Show. But for those of you who want more baseball, Keith Olbermann and Hannah Storm have the World Series postgame show on CNBC. Johnson, strike 1.
There's that nasty curveball down low and inside, and Johnson chased it. Here's his hitting chart. Pull hitter for the most part. Every once in a while, a ball to right, go up the middle. Well, what a blast he hit in that series, or in this series, in Florida, off of Hershiser. Monster home run.
Upper deck shot. Ooh. Fastball high, 2-1. Craig Counsell is on deck. 1 out on the Florida 8th. Ossenmacher doesn't get the call. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Mike Hargrove thought it was high enough. Breaking ball that dropped just below the knees.
Fastball hit sharply, bounces off the mound and into center field. A 1-out single for Johnson. His second hit in 4 trips.
Well, he missed and got behind in the count, 3-1. He throws Johnson a fastball, and he drills it right back through the middle for a base hit. It'll be interesting to see here is see the Marlins bench. They're excited because they know that represents the go-ahead run at first base.
Counsell has struck out twice and singled. The single started the 2-run 7th, which tied the game.
Be interesting to see if Jim Leyland tries to manufacture a run here by hitting and running, or doing something here with Counsell, because you're getting toward the late innings, and when you get into extra innings or close to the 9th, the home team, of course, has the advantage.
Hard throwing Eric Crunk gets up in the Cleveland pen.
Counsell hammers it foul.
I'll tell you, a couple of times tonight, Craig Counsell has gotten out in front of breaking balls and hit them hard, but hit them foul to right. Again, here's the Ossenmacher curveball upstairs and around the inside, and Counsell hit it hard but foul.
One out, one on, and the 1-2 pitch. A little punch job into shallow right. Here comes Ramirez, but it falls in front of him.
Again, a breaking ball from Ossenmacher, and Counsell. This is a tough pitch. This is a breaking ball down low. And watch Counsell cut back on his swing. He cuts back on the swing. There's a low breaking ball, and he punches it in the right, dropping in front of Ramirez for another base hit, his second in the game. That's a good piece of hitting by Counsell. Watch where this pitch is, down low and outside, and that little flare in the right center falling in between Fernandez and Ramirez.
Now Devon White with runners at first and second. Devon is 0 for 3 with a walk tonight. Just 160 in the playoffs and World Series. Strike. White hit just 188 right-handed this year, but his grand slam homer in the division series against the Giants was hit right-handed.
That's what they try to do with Devon White. Fastballs away, off-speed stuff. Down and in, be careful.
Slow roller charging is Williams. No play, bases loaded. 3 singles load him up.
Well, Matt Williams is playing deep, of course, to try to knock off any ground ball that might be headed for the hole. See how deep he is now. He has to come all the way in on this play, and Devon White runs well. He gets out of the box well, and no play for Matt Williams. He tries to fake to first and look at second base, and no play any place. And the Marlins bench, they're excited. Now they know a fly ball will get them to go ahead and run home. There's Alex Fernandez leading the cheers.
Now Renteria. Singled home a run in the 7th. That made it 7-6. Strike 1 to him. Then he scored the tying run immediately thereafter on a booming double to center by Sheffield. And unless Renteria hits into a double play here, they're going to have to deal with Sheffield with the game on the line. In and blocked by Alomar.
Boy, what a play by Sandy Alomar, saving a wild pitch and a run that time for Ossenmacher. Watch Alomar shift down inside. Look at this. That is a tough play. That is a really tough play, folks. And luckily this ball rolled right up his arm. Look, he smothered it against his chest protector. That is a tough play.
1-1 pitch is popped up. Tony Fernandez. The infield fly rule had been called. That's the second out.
Well, he goes after a high fastball and he doesn't get to it, and he pops it up, so he leaves the bases loaded. They're going to call in Eric Plunk. Tough situation for Eric Plunk to be coming in.
With the score tied at 7, the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 8th, Plunk will face Sheffield. You already know all you need to know about Gary Sheffield, one of the most feared hitters in the major leagues. Tonight he has a homer, a double, and 3 RBIs. Here's what you need to know about Eric Plunk. He throws very hard, but in 66 innings of work, he walked 36. These are his postseason numbers. He also threw 6 wild pitches. And he's susceptible to the gopher ball. 12 home runs in those 66 innings of work.
Well, that's why I said it's a tough situation for him to come into, because he doesn't have a big margin of error to work with here, because he can't throw anything in the dirt because it may bounce away and become a wild pitch. So he's going to have to go after Sheffield. His best pitch is his fastball when he's got it in the strike zone, but he has difficulty throwing strike. So I would say if I'm Gary Sheffield, I sit on the first pitch fastball. If I'm Eric Plunk, I try to throw the fastball up and in on the first pitch.
Johnson at third, Counsell at second, White at first. I don't care what kind of heat you bring. Sheffield is one of the great fastball hitters in the majors. He will turn on anybody's fastball.
That's why it's a tough situation.
Threw him a breaking ball, but missed with it.
Well, he starts him off with a slider or a curveball that didn't break very much. And one thing they've tried to get Plunk to do is get away from the split-fingered fastball. That's the pitch that's been a problem for him, Bob, as far as wildness goes.
The 1-0. A called strike.
So that's what I would have tried to do on the first pitch, try to get ahead of him. See, what happens is when you miss with the first breaking ball, now he sort of takes that out of his mind. Now I think Sheffield's going to look for another fastball.
Pressure on Alomar here. Should there be a pitch in the dirt? Stop that one. 2-1.
Well, again, he came with a breaking ball, and as Joe said, I thought he might come fastball again. But Plunk with a curveball. This is a curveball. This is not a split-fingered fastball. This is a curveball. And a good stop. Good stop by Alomar on a pitch in the dirt.
But from a hitter's perspective, until you throw a strike with that breaking ball, you don't even have to worry about it. Now you look for nothing but a fastball.
Great spot for the hitter. The 2-1. A called strike.
I don't know what he's looking for. He's got two of them. They're right there.
Well, I understand the fact they have pitched him away. That's why I said you had to come inside with the fastball. He's done so twice now, and he's gotten 2 strikes.
Bases loaded. 2 out. Top of the 8th. 7-7 game. Plunk's 2-2 pitch to Sheffield. Bouncing ball to third. Williams juggles it, but then recovers and steps on the bag. Florida leaves 3, leaving us still deadlocked at 7.
Well, here's the play that Matt Williams makes to end the inning, and this is a tough play. He waited a little too long, then he charged it, so he got it on the in-between hop. You try to get it on the short hop or the big hop. Now watch, he waits just a second right here, and then he decides, I've got to go get it. Now he comes in, and because he has such soft hands, he's able to make that play.
Here's the reaction from Mike Hargrove. They're out of it. They wriggle out of a bases-loaded situation. There's Veronica Leland, the 85-year-old mother of Jim Leland, the Florida manager, and her son Tom, Jim's brother, leans over and lets her know what happened. Nope, we didn't score. Still tied.
You don't think that was a tough play? That reaction by Mike Hargrove told you what kind of a play that was.
Dennis Cook comes out of the bullpen. He's been close to perfect in the postseason. He's faced 24 hitters. None of them has gotten a hit. He's walked 2 and hit a man. Marquise Grissom to face him. More important things on the line right now, but Grissom's World Series hitting streak is in jeopardy. He's hit safely in all 14 World Series games in which he's participated. That's out of play. It's the second longest streak in history. Hank Bauer of the Yankees holds the record with 17. Right now, Grissom is tied with the great Roberto Clemente.
And the Marlins have made a conscious effort tonight to try to pitch him up. He showed you all the base hits he's had in this series have been on low pitches. They've made a very conscious effort to pitch him up, and in a couple of instances they've got it up too much and walked him.
1-2. He's hit into a double play and walked twice.
Bobby Bonilla right on the line for Grissom. He's dropping back now. behind the bag at third, but he's hugging the line. He's only about 3 feet off the line for Grissom. There he is.
Blowing on both hands, trying to deal with the cold. Grissom being made to wait by the very deliberate Dennis Cook. Asks for time. And now the 1-2 pitch.
Dennis Cook with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. I don't know about that. I don't think so. I didn't think he threw that hard anyway.
Some of the Indians question whether Rob Nen really hit 102 the other night in Florida. But heck, this is the Cleveland gun. We're at Jacobs Field. Two and two. 92 on that one.
Yeah, I mean that's around what Cook normally is. 89, 90, 91, but 97. That's high for him.
Rolled to short. Renteria backhands across the body with the throw. Safe at first. And Grissom's World Series hitting streak is at 15.
Grissom does a great job of getting out of the box right there. See, he's out of the box, and Renteria knows he has to hurry. He backhands it, and then he has to take an extra step. And his throw is not in time to beat Marquise Grissom at first base. Now watch. Right here he comes after the ball, but he rounds it, and he has to take an extra step. And on a speedy runner like Marquise Grissom, you're not going to get him in a play like this. You can see he easily beats it at first base.
Now here's a play for Roberts now to move him up, and Bobby Bonilla now playing up at third. This is a challenge for Bonilla here if indeed Roberts does get it down the third base line.
Roberts is 0 for 4. Bunt situation here. Squares. Pulls back. Takes ball one.
If you're sacrificing completely here, you're going to try to push it to the first baseman. If you're going to try to dump it down and beat it out for a base hit, you would drop it down the third base line. So I think you're going to see him push it to first base, trying to move the runner over if he's sacrificing.
Looks to bunt, bunts it hard and foul.
That was almost a line drive base hit.
And I think a lot of times it depends on where the pitch is too. If you can get a ball from the middle out, it's easier, Joe, as you well know. And if you get something inside, there's not much of a chance to push it to first. You almost got to pull it as Roberts did. That's like you said, almost a line drive. Yeah, right, Bip. Got away with one that time.
Yeah, he knows that he's not supposed to push it down the third base line.
Not trying to disguise his intentions. Here it comes, and he pushes it toward first. A good bunt. Dalton to Counsell. And on the sacrifice, Grissom moves to second.
And that's the way to play the game. You're supposed to bunt the ball to the first baseman because the third baseman is charging right away. And if you bunt it to third, he'll have a play at second base. But here he does a good job right off the end of the bat toward the first baseman. The only play they have is to first base, and the sacrifice works.
And it brings up Vizquel with Ramirez on deck. Omar has walked his last 2 trips. Prior to that, he was 0 for 2. His first walk forced in a run. Cook steps off. Sometimes you can hardly bear to watch. Series tied, game tied. Cook to Vizquel. Ball 1.
Mike Hargrove told us that at the end of the Baltimore series, in the 11th inning, he literally couldn't watch. Once they had the 1-0 lead, he positioned himself in a corner of the dugout where he actually didn't see several pitches thrown by Jose Mesa in the bottom of the 11th and preferred it that way. Strike one. For his career against Dennis Cook, who has had several stints in the American League, Omar Vizquel is 0 for 9.
Interesting here is Counsell is getting himself a little bit out of position, trying to keep Marquise Grissom close at second base.
Here's the 1-1.
See how close he is to second, but he's done a good job of fighting and getting back to his position right there. But you want to play Vizquel straight away and slightly to the right side. And he was too close to second base, giving up a lot of hole over there on the right side. So he's fighting to get back in position. Now he's talking to Cook about Marquise Grissom, because Grissom is getting a pretty good lead at second base, and you do not want him to take off and steal third on you.
Cook with his sign. Time is called before he can deliver.
And again, Counsell trying to keep Grissom close. And his lead, Grissom's lead at second, is about the same distance that Counsell is away from the bag on the right side. Watch Grissom's lead and then look at Counsell.
A look but no throw. How about the outfield arms in the event of a sharp base hit, Joe?
Well, Sheffield has a very good arm. Devon White's average. Moises Alou has a pretty good arm. None of them are really outstanding. Sheffield has the best throwing arm of the three.
And of course, Grissom runs well. Not quite as well as a few years ago, but still speedy. The 1-2.
And see, Vizquel took a shot toward right field there. And that's why Counsell doesn't want to give up too much position over there.
About time for Cook to come inside here. He's gone away on Vizquel. And he's had that ability, and he's done it a number of times tonight on those fastballs away, trying to punch the ball to right field. See if Cook comes inside on him one time here, and a ball and 2 strikes.
And Vizquel continues to battle him.
Did coming inside that time, and as you said, Bob, Vizquel fought it off again. This pitch is off the inside or right around the hands on him. Coming inside, watch this. Little slider inside, and Vizquel just gets a piece.
Potential go-ahead run at second in the bottom of the 8th. With 1 out, the 1-2 pitch. Him out.
And a good job there by Counsell to help keep Marquise Grissom close. He did just enough to keep him close without giving up his position at second base. Let's take a look at the pitches. Fastball for a strike. Foul out of play. He fouls off a couple. And then he goes with a high fastball, and he can't catch up with it. And Vizquel very upset with himself. He thought he should have made contact with that pitch. Well, they're trying to decide here whether they want to walk Ramirez and pitch to Justice or not.
Something that can't be overlooked in this game is the work done by young Felix Heredia, who came on in relief of Al Leiter. And sometimes you take these situations for granted. You think the game is sort of getting out of hand. It's 7-3. It was his job to keep it there and give his team a chance to come back. He worked 2 1/3, did a nearly perfect job. Meanwhile, his teammates rallied for 2 in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th, tied the game, and that's where we stand now in the bottom of the 8th.
The only batter to reach, Bob, against Heredia was the walk to Vizquel to open the 6th.
Well, they've gone over the scouting report again on exactly how they want to pitch to Ramirez in this situation. They're showing David Justice a lot of respect here because he's a left-handed hitter on deck. And they're choosing at this moment to go after Ramirez,
who has an infield single in 4 trips. Way high, ball 1. Scouting report on Manny.
Now with power to all fields, I should say, you've got to mix it up on him. Inside, away, and especially in this situation, he'll chase stuff down low and away. But you got to be careful. He's got great power all over, especially right center.
The 1-0 pitch broke his bat. Dalton in foul ground to the 9th. As we creep up on midnight in Cleveland, the temperature is 43 degrees. The wind chill is 21. And Bobby Bonilla takes strike 1, leading off in the top of the 9th against Eric Plunk. Plunk came in to face Sheffield with the bases loaded and got him to ground out to end the 8th. One and 1.
Plunk came in, he threw some beautiful pitches to Sheffield, all on the inside part of the plate, and that crossed Sheffield up because they had been pitching him away for the entire series.
Two and 1 to Bonilla, who's 0 for 4.
There's still that tough play by Williams, Joe, that got him out of it, though. And again, Plunk yet to throw a split-fingered fastball. He's featured the fastball and a curveball.
Just low, 3 and 1. Darren Dalton and Moises Alou will follow Bobby Bonilla in the Florida 9th. Full count.
A sellout crowd here at Jacobs Field, again on their feet.
Ball 4, and Bonilla draws a walk to start the 9th.
Well, Dennis Cook made a great pitch to Manny Ramirez to get out of the inning. This is supposed to be away, but it's a fastball up and in, and you could see him try to pull his hands in to get the barrel to the ball. He was really crossed up and tied up inside, and wasn't much he could do. There's Dennis Cook. He said, I got him. Both teams have left 8. Not that bad in a game where you scored 7 runs. I mean, it's not as bad as it looks.
7 runs, 12 hits, 3 errors, 2 of them costly for Florida. 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Cleveland. Dalton had a homer earlier tonight. Rifles this one by the diving Fernandez. Bonilla is going to try for third with a sore hamstring. Here's the throw, and it gets by Williams. Goes into the camera well. And Bonilla is waved home. And Dalton will be waved on to third. There was a ball that very nearly was a double play. Had Fernandez been able to catch it on the low liner, Bonilla would have been dead between first and second. Instead, he can't come up with it. And as the play unfolds, a run scores, and Dalton winds up at third.
Well, for all the things we talked about Bonilla not being able to run, he does a great job of running around at third base. You mentioned the ball past Fernandez. He makes up his mind. I'm going to try to get to third base. Grissom's throw is on target. Now watch what happens here. It actually hits Bonilla and goes into the photographer's well, and that allows him to get up and score. I mean, this is Bobby Bonilla. See right here, he makes up his mind. He says, I've got to try it. And here he comes. And here's the throw right there. It hits him and goes, bounces away, and he gets up and scores.
Now the infield comes in, and Alou cuts and misses. Grissom is charged with an error, a tough error on a good throw.
Well, if the ball gets there and a little quicker, it might have gotten him out, but it hits him on the right shoulder and goes away, and you see him pointing home.
Rich Donnelly, the third base coach, immediately knowing that by rule, once that ball went into the camera well, the runners get to move up.
What a big night for Darren Daulton. 2 walks, a home run. He scored a couple.
He's really hit the ball hard. That ball was stung. The home run was creamed. His first time up, he lined out hard to Ramirez and right. He's had good swings all night. The other 2 times he walked. Now Lou with a weak wave at it, 1-2.
You know, Lou in that 2-game series in Florida had problems too. A couple of times when he swung and missed, swung through a pitch and missed, he had trouble holding on to the bat. That right wrist was giving him problems. He injured it. We remember in the his left wrist, left hand in the series in Atlanta.
The 1-2 pitch struck him out. Another look at the previous play on the ball hit by Daulton.
Well, Marquise Grissom comes up. Now watch, he throws a strike. It's right there, but the ball hits him on the shoulder, and it bounces over amongst the photographers, bounces in, and then bounces out. Now here's Bobby Bonilla hustling all the way. He's running pretty well right there. Now the ball hits him right there on his right shoulder and gets away from Matt Williams.
So after trailing 7-3, Florida has come back to lead 8-7 in the 9th. The DH spot is due. Technically, that made Kurt Abbott the scheduled hitter. Earlier he had batted for Eisenreich, but with the right-hander on the mound, they send up Cliff Floyd, and the Indians decide they'll walk him.
It's a good play strategy here for the Indians, because now they can play for a double play with Charles Johnson, the hitter, and they do not have to play the infield all the way in.
Well, the one thing that Dalton's base hit did, and the error by Grissom, is take this crowd out of the game for the moment.
Jim Gray has a report on Bobby Bonilla.
Well, it's actually on Edgar Renteria, Bob. He seemed to have hurt his right groin and his right thigh in the field when he tried to make that play on Marquise Grissom last inning. He's sitting there with the hot pack on the inside of his thigh and on his groin area, and he is really limping around. They've been talking to him. I don't know whether or not he will return to the field right now, but he's having quite a bit of problem. Bob?
Jim, thanks. Charles Johnson steps in. The infield moves back, looking for the double play. First and third, 1 out. In the bottom of the 9th, David Justice will lead it off, followed by Matt Williams and Sandy Alomar. If anybody gets on, Jim Thome is the 4th hitter.
Well, that's why this run at third base is so important for the Florida Marlins to get home.
2-0.
And Eric Plunk with the lead. That Dalton's base hit did, and the error by Grissom, is take this crowd out of the game for the moment.
Jim Gray has a report on Bobby Bonilla.
Leadoff walk to Bonilla ends up costing him a run. He's behind on Johnson here. 2-0. Boy, walks in this game tonight both ways have really hurt both clubs.
Quick throw to first, and it gets away, but then it hit the umpire. Now Thome can't pick it up in time, and Daulton slides home. At first, they caught a break when the ball hit Greg Kosk and bounced back to Thome. If Thome had picked it up right away, he had a play on Daulton at the plate, but he couldn't find the handle.
Well, here it is again, this quick throw over there by Eric Plunk, and let's see what happens to Jim Thome. He didn't handle it. That was not a bad throw by Plunk. And the ball, luckily, for the moment, hit Kosk. Didn't last very long. Here it is again. That's a good throw. That's a good throw. Tomei just didn't handle it. And another error charge to the Indians, to Jim Tomei this time.
And it's 9-7 Florida.
There's the Marlins bench as they see Dalton come home, but then they were surprised because when the ball hit the umpire, they thought he was going to be out.
With the runner going and Fernandez covering, the hit and run works to perfection. And now they have runners at the corners again.
Well, Eric Plunk with a tough night again. It's happened to him a number of times. Bob, you talked earlier about his problems this year. Here it is again, the pitch by Plunk, and with Fernandez covering. Watch this. That ball is hit like a bullet past Plunk and to the left of Fernandez. And again, this upstart Florida Marlins club having a run here. They're up by a pair, and a pitching change again for the Indians.
Here's Tony Fernandez here. Now what he does is he goes straight to the bag. So he gives up his position too quickly. What he should have done is come in a couple of steps, see if the ball's hit, and then you break to the bag. But he gave it up too quickly, and watch, he goes directly to the bag. That's not the way to do it. And that's why you can't reverse your field. You come in, take a couple of steps under control, and then you have a chance. There you see Clifford Floyd breaks. Now he's breaking with him, and you see that ball's hit too close to the bag for it to go through for a base hit. But once you start straight for the bag, you can't stop and go back the other way. You have to take a couple of steps straight in and then break to the bag.
It's become a habit this year for the Marlins. They led the majors in accumulating wins in their last turn at bat this year, and added 2 more in the postseason, both against the Giants in the division series. The 28-year-old left-hander out of Rockingham, North Carolina, Alvin Moorman, comes in. Craig Counsell is the hitter. First a toss over, and Johnson is back easily. Got to be alive for the possibility of a bunt here.
Counsell almost looked that time, Bob, like he was giving himself up. He took a step as if to square around and bunt and push it.
No sign of the bunt that time, and he takes a strike from the former Astro Moorman.
Well, there's Jim Leland giving signs to Rich Donnelly over at third. Well, you can never be surprised with Jim Leland. I mean, he may try to squeeze here, but Counsell has really swung the bat well against left-handed pitching tonight.
He's been pesky throughout this postseason. 360 in the playoffs and World Series after hitting 299 for the year. 0-2.
And a couple of tough breaking balls from Alvin Moorman right on the outside corner. Counsell, in the times that he's hit the ball hard tonight, they've been breaking balls around the inside, and he's hit them foul but hard to right. He's picked up a couple of base hits, though. Scored a run.
Moorman trying to keep it just a 2-run game to give his team a shot in the bottom of the ninth. Counsell tips it back, and Alomar unable to hold it.
Alomar tried to smother this pitch. It's fouled by Counsell, and watch Alomar try to grab this one. Couldn't hang on to it. In the dirt. He thought he had it. It's laying down between your legs, Sandy.
A ball and 2 strikes. From their expressions, you couldn't tell for sure which one is ahead and which one is behind. It's 9-7 Florida. flashed the signs to Donnelly, his third base coach. Counsell back in, awaiting another 1-2 pitch. Hitting it hard. Fernandez has it bounce away. It's all unraveling for the Indians here in the ninth. Make it 10-7. A nightmare inning for Cleveland.
Well, again, Craig Counsell, Bob, you said he's been pesky all night. Here's another one hit at Fernandez to his left. Another tough hop for him. In between hop. Fernandez can't make the play. A run scores. Here it is again. That's a tough in-between hop for Tony Fernandez. And the Marlins score again, 10-7. And Mike Hargrove. Yep. Finally showing some emotion that time.
Now Devon White. That's the third error of the inning. Two and 0. White's 1 for 4 with a walk tonight. Couldn't hold up. 2 and 1.
You know, for two teams that play good defense, there have been 6 errors and could have been a couple more. You have to attribute a lot of this to the weather.
A very sloppy game by any postseason standard. And as you say, both these clubs have played good defense, especially down the stretch and in the postseason. 6 combined errors. And although the defense contributed here, or the poor defense, the Indians' bullpen, for the first time in recent memory, has let them down tonight. It's a full count to White.
Total of 14 walks in this game tonight, Bob. Talk about sloppy play and pitching, bases on balls that cost both ball clubs.
The mercury plummeting along with the Indians' chances in this game. White strikes out.
Shortstop number 16, Edgar Renteria.
Alvin Mormon here. This looks like a change of pace on White. Down low and outside, he chases. He's gone. Here it is one more time. Change of pace from Mormon. And in a horrendous 9th inning, there are finally 2 men out.
Renteria takes a ball. 14 walks, 6 errors, 17 runs scored. Put it all together, we're moving up on a 4-hour game. Past midnight now in Cleveland.
Marlins also have 14 base hits, so
twice as many as Cleveland's 7.
Well, we talked about the bullpens, both bullpens that have done such great work. The Indians in that great series against Baltimore, but here tonight it's fallen apart.
Renteria is 2 for 4 with a walk thrown in. And Mormon falls behind him 3-0. 3 of the 14 hits tonight for the Marlins have been home runs. Sheffield, Dalton, Eisenreich. Thome has one for Cleveland. Strike 1 on the outside corner.
You look back to the 5th inning, Bob, when the Indians had the 4-run cushion at 7-3, and they were really cruising. The fans were really into this game. Not so anymore.
can. There are no better and no more rabid fans anywhere in baseball than the Cleveland Indian fans. Long-suffering, decade after decade, and then in the last few years, a contending team in a beautiful new ballpark. They'll make all kinds of noise here. And in fact, with 2 strikes on the hitter, a bit of noise now in the 9th. But the 3 runs has definitely quieted the crowd and sent some of them to the exits. He walks him, and that brings up Sheffield with the bases loaded.
15 walks now in this game. And the 9th continues, and Mike Hargrove is going to make another pitching change in the 9th inning. Jose Mesa coming on to work for Cleveland. Earlier tonight, we showed you how the Indians and Bobby Bonilla were heating their bats. Normally, when you put your hand up there, you should have a bat in it. Darren Dalton just forgot to put the bat up there, that's all. Got a little bite in there when you put your bare hand against those heaters.
Jose Mesa, normally the closer, asked now to close out an almost unbelievable 9th inning. From the Indians' perspective, almost everything that can go wrong in a single inning has gone wrong here. As a 7-7 game turns to 10-7, and now more. Sheffield on the first pitch knocks home 2 more with a single to right. What a night he has had. He has 5 RBIs on a single, a double, a solo homer, and even when they walked him, it was with the bases loaded, and he picked up an RBI there.
Well, Mesa gets this ball out over the plate. This is where Sheffield has been anticipating pitches to be, and he shoots it to right field for a base hit. Plunk came in and fired 3 on the inside part of the plate and got him out.
12-7. They batted around. Bonilla, who led the inning off, stands in and takes a strike. Even the hardy Cleveland fans have seen enough. A mass exodus underway right now. In the air to left, along the line, foul territory. It falls untouched.
We talked to Jim Leland tonight about the possibility of taking Bonilla out of a game or a Sheffield out of a game if the game is a blowout type. They're up by 5 here in the 9th. Jim Leland said, I really don't like to take my guys out of the lineup. I don't want to go into the late innings of a game with the other club a chance to win if they come back to tie or whatever, and I don't have my main men in there. It's going to be interesting to see in the bottom half if he gives these guys a break or gets somebody else into a World Series game.
The 0-2 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes. This half inning is almost a half hour old. Producing 5 Florida runs. Since trailing 7-3, they've scored 9 unanswered runs to lead 12-7. The Marlin fans see more reason to stay than do the Indian fans. Cold? What cold?
Fish.
It gets away from Alomar before he can find it. The runners move up to 2nd and 3rd.
Boy, this is a nightmare inning for the Indians, even for Sandy Alomar, who's getting a little upset.
This looks like a splitter that he tries to get Bonilla to chase, and it's in the dirt. Sandy tried to block it, but he could not keep it in front of him, and the runners move up.
Well, it's one of those nights, one of those innings. It happens to everybody in every club. Indians still with another at-bat in the bottom half.
This ball is ripped but foul.
Oh, I mean, they're having some cuts now. Bobby Bonilla got out in front of this Jose Mesa fastball. I mean, really turned on it. Hit it hard, but hit it foul. Down low and inside, and he hit it foul.
Actually hesitates a little more on that back foot a little bit there. He gave it a little extra.
Hit to the hole, base hit. It's going to sound like a football score. It's 14-7.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Jim Leland's probably saying, and that's enough, guys. Save some of these for tomorrow.
First baseman, number 20,
2 RBIs on the base knock from Bonilla. A 7-run inning.
Well, he gets another fastball. This one works its way out over the plate a little bit where he can extend on it, and he pulls it in the hole for a base hit.
16 base hits in this game for Florida.
Dalton fouls it back. This inning has had a little bit of everything, none of it good for Cleveland. 4 Florida hits, 3 walks, 1 of them intentional, 3 Cleveland errors, 7 runs. This would be an ugly inning on a Tuesday night in June. In the World Series, it's grotesque. However, a thing of beauty for Marlin fans. The handful of them here and the millions of them watching in South Florida. And here's a drive to right center field. Grissom moving over, and he's got it. The bottom of the 9th coming up. So the strategic question here, Joe, if Cleveland scores, do they settle for the tie or go for the 2-point conversion and the win? Veronica Leland still here, still awake, and very happy that things have taken a definite turn for the better for son Jimmy. Once trailing 7-3, now leading 14-7 as the Indians come up in the bottom of the 9th. This is not a save situation, technically, but it is Rob Nett on the mound, and it's Jeff Conine at first base in place of Darren Dalton.
By the time this game gets over, the temperature is going to start rising again. We're tomorrow morning.
I was going to say tomorrow night's starters are a pair of rookies, Tony Saunders and Jarrett Wright, but technically that's later today. 2-1 to Justice. 0 for 3 with a walk tonight. Two and 2.
Had a kick out of Rob Nett the other day, Bob, when he was clocked at 101 and then topping out at 102 miles per hour. He said he saved that story and saved the picture and saved everything to go along with it. Never done it before.
Full count. Matt Williams will be next. And he walks it. Little doubt about the player of the game. Joe Morgan said before the ball game started, Gary Sheffield is just itching to get some pitches to hit. The first one came in the first. Despite the wind, he sends it out of here. Then he makes a great catch, robbing Jim Thome of an extra base hit. He has 3 hits in 5 at-bats, 5 RBIs, also walked once with the bases loaded. He would be the Chevrolet player of the game. Matt Williams. An RBI single back in the first, which is a long way back. 1 for 4 overall. Somewhere in the Marlin clubhouse, Al Leiter is saying to himself, thank you. Thank you to all of my teammates. They're Marlins, but they're lined up here like a bunch of Mrs. Paul's frozen fish sticks on a frigid night in Cleveland.
Icelandic cod.
Leiter was sent packing after giving up 7 runs, but he doesn't take the loss. Matt Williams does take a seat, striking out on a high fastball from Nen. Next 2 games are in Cleveland, both at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then, if a game 6 and 7 are required, they're both at Pro Player Stadium in Miami. I guess Pro Player Stadium is about equidistant between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, which are technically not the twin cities of Florida. These would be your Game 4 starters. Brian Giles pinch hitting now for Sandy Alomar. Had a pinch hit double in Game 1 in Florida. 2-1.
Now, we've talked about the errors and, you know, some of the misplays here, but under the conditions, I mean, when the game started, I thought we'd have a well-played ball game, and we did for a couple of innings, but this cold weather has really made it difficult for people to perform at their peak. So under the circumstances, actually, I guess it hasn't been as bad a game as we said it is.
It's going to be interesting to see, Joe, when talk to some of these guys after the game or tomorrow to find out how much this weather did affect them. You know, you can't say the pitching has been affected. I mean, as far as the cold goes, I mean, every one of these Marlins pitchers that's come into the game has come in without a long sleeve shirt on. I don't know if they're trying to show the Cleveland people and the Cleveland players, hey, this stuff is not bothering us, this cold weather.
If anything, it should be colder tomorrow and the next night. At least that's what the forecast says.
Yeah, today's supposed to be the best day. Tonight, today, got in just a little slalom stuff today.
Well, for the players' sake, let's hope the weatherman is wrong again.
The 2-2 pitch. And Giles fouls it back again. If you've ever played ball at any level, it doesn't have to be at the major league level, high school, in the sandlot, little league, when it's cold and when a pitch gets in on your hands, man, it stings.
I think the one thing these guys have that they didn't use years ago, of course, is gloves. And they have these batting gloves now, which help a little bit. Even catchers wear a catching glove inside the regular mitt. That takes some sting away.
Full count to Brian Giles, pinch hitting here in the ninth.
You're right, Bob. I mean, there are times, no matter. Sometimes you hit a ball right on the screws, right on the meat part of the bat, and it stings. It's got a little jar to it.
And he walks him. Nen, apparently in no particular hurry to get back to the hotel, decides to prolong the ninth. Now Tommy, who struck out, walked, homered, his second home run of this World Series, and then flied to very deep right, with Sheffield making a leaping catch at the barrier. So maybe Tommy is starting to come around.
I think that's the one thing that Hargrove has got to be encouraged with, the fact that he's hit the ball well tonight.
Ball one. It was against Tommy that Nen first hit 101 and then 102, at least as it was clocked in Florida.
We have now reached officially 4 hours in this game. Now, what else are you going to do? Not a bad place to be. 38 degrees.
The 1-0 pitch is in there.
I laid out for about an hour today. Got some nice asphalt on my back.
Copping some rays in the parking lot, huh, Uke? Next time, just don't do it in my spot. That's reserved, pal. In game 1, Nen just said to Thome, who was the tying run at the plate in the 9th inning, here it comes, big boy. Hit it. Straight heat. 102 right down the chute. And Thome couldn't catch up with it.
Well, maybe can't get loose tonight. You know, in Florida he was loose. Can't quite get loose. He's only hitting 97 to 98 miles an hour tonight. Well, this is his 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's up too high. And you can see he's not real happy with the fact that he's not able to throw strikes here in this situation. He has a big enough lead.
Two on, one out, and his 2-1 pitch to Thome. Count evens at 2-2. David Justice is at second. Brian Giles at first. Many of their mates must join them before this gets interesting. Full count.
Well, again, this Indians club, we've seen them many, many times this year come from behind. Not to say they're going to come from 7 down tonight. They lost the opener, came back to take game 2, are down here in game 3 with 4 tomorrow. I mean, who knows?
Right field, Sheffield coming on, can't get there. The bases will be loaded. Soft single to right.
Well, it's another high fastball. Thome has been handling the high fastball. He doesn't hit this one that well, but he gets enough of it to get it over the infield and in front of Gary Sheffield and right. And now the bases are loaded with 1 down.
Bringing Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, to the mound. Making the following point: I'm not sure they have 24-hour room service. So throw strikes and get me out of here.
It'll be nice to get back for room service when it opens at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
I got my order in for the club sandwich and the onion soup, and you're messing everything up. The longest 9-inning game in World Series history.
We're not trying to save meal money. Let's get this over with.
Was game 4 of the 1993 series. That wild one in Philadelphia where the Phillies lost a big lead and Toronto came back and beat them 15-14. That lasted 4 hours and 14 minutes. We're not far off that right now.
Well, if we're here, why not tie it up? We're here. Let's do it.
Park about half full right now. The Loyalists remaining. 2-0.
2 grand slammers. You're right back in here, baby.
If my math is correct, 2 grand slammers wins it.
No, we're back in here. He's always showing off.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. And a strike. Jay Powell and Ed Vosberg did not think this would be necessary, but they're getting loose.
And like all the other Marlin pitchers, they do not have any long sleeve shirts on.
Apparently one of the trunks was lost on the baggage carousel. 2-2. Foul to the seats. For those of you with long memories or time on your hands, Rob Nen is the son of Dick Nen, former senator and Dodger, who once delivered a huge home run in the heat of the 1963 pennant race against the Cardinals. Full count. 0-2 pitch. Hit in the air to left. Alou started in. Now he goes back and makes the catch on the track. Justice tags and scores. It's 14-8.
Well, Tony Fernandez hit that ball pretty well. Alou was playing shallow and left, and then he got back in time to make the catch. Well, he throws a strike on a 3-2 pitch, and Fernandez hits it well to left field. You see Alou starting back now, tries to find the wall. Now he coasts back and makes the catch, and they do get a run out of it,
leaving them 6 behind with 1 out remaining. Marquise Grissom takes a ball high. He extended his World Series hitting streak to 15 with an infield single his last time up. Officially 1 for 2 as he's walked twice. In this World Series, he's moved past Paul Molitor and Pepper Martin to post at present the highest batting average for anyone who's seen extended duty in World Series history. Two and 1. Remember Pepper Martin's? There's the hitting streak. He's now in between Clemente and Bauer. What was Pepper Martin's nickname, Uke? Well, Pepper, I guess. I'm guessing Pepper wasn't his given name, but
that was his given name, by the way.
Is that true?
Absolutely. Brother named Saul.
There you have it. Sister named Oregano. They were a spicy crowd. Now, actually, his nickname was the Wild Horse of the Osage. Now,
Osage, that's right,
is a nickname. The Wild Horse of the Osage.
For a guy his size, especially.
I didn't know him personally, Uke. Here's the 2-2.
Surprising.
A bouncing ball to the hole, which Renteria can't handle. It's going to be 14-9. And another hit for Grissom. He began the night with a World Series batting average of .441. He's 2 for 3, so it's gone up.
Here it is again. Grissom knocks one to the hole past Renteria. Ned having all kinds of problems trying to shut this one down in the 9th. Again, Renteria trying a backhanded play in the hole. No chance to make the play. And the Indians are within 5 now.
And a ball to Bip Roberts, bringing Charles Johnson to the mound with a few choice words for Rob Nen.
Down by 7 when this inning started. They've got 2 in here. Well, here we are tied for second now. All-time frigid fall classics. Yankees at Cincinnati. Joe, you're still leading.
To be honest with you, I think it's colder tonight. It's not as cold when you're playing.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Taking all the way and a strike.
Told Nen it doesn't, can't get a save, so let's get this over with.
Well, he's 1 strike from doing that. Just for the record, why don't you say it, Uke?
Pepper Martin's given name, John Leonard Roosevelt Martin. Or if you prefer the correct pronunciation, Roosevelt.
Not far off that record. This one right now is at about 410. And the 2-2 pitch. Bip Roberts with a drive into right center field. That ball will split them and go to the wall. 1 run home. 2 runs home. 14-11.
Yeah.
Jim doesn't seem to be excited.
I bet he is.
And one base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate.
Well, it's a fastball from then, and it's out over the plate, and he drills it in the right center field. And 2 runners score.
Man, you talk about a weird game. Weird 9th inning, but a weird game all the way around. 26 hits in this game now. 25 runs.
And no joking matter anymore, because if Vizquel reaches, Ramirez is the tying run at the plate. A strike.
I wasn't joking before when I said they could come back. What are you talking about?
It was a 7-7 game entering the 9th about a week and a half ago. The Marlins got 7 in the top half. Cleveland with 4 in the bottom half. So far, slow roller, Counsell, charging, throwing. It's over. Well, Rob Nen didn't quite know what to say when it was over with. On the one hand, he's got to be happy. His team is up 2-1 in the World Series. On the other hand, none too pleased with his own effort here.
Yeah, well, one of those days and one of those nights.
Well, the cold weather didn't seem to bother the hitters. They seem to perform
you're right,
pretty well. Lots of base hits. 16 by the Marlins and 10 by the Cleveland Indians.
Jim Gray is with Bobby Bonilla. Take it, Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. Well, Bobby, it's a very strange game, this baseball. In the 4th inning, when you threw the ball away and you cost your team a couple runs, did you think, hey, maybe I cost my team the game?
No, I wasn't really thinking that. And I said, you know, actually what I was saying to myself is that, wow, I've made a couple errors and everyone's watching. And, you know, it's just a game of baseball. It's going to happen like that. And, you know, I didn't feel bad or anything. I did the very best I could to get to the ball and try to make the play. But you know what? I honestly don't know what I was thinking. You know, because I'm at a loss for words.
Then what are you thinking when at the time it looked like the game-winning run? You put your team ahead 8-7, very aggressive on the base path in the 9th inning, and a couple of RBIs in that inning as well.
Well, I felt that just staying at second, I really couldn't score on a single. I probably was station to station, so I said, here's a try. Just try it. Go ahead and try it. As you can see, I'm at a loss for words. I'm on national TV at a loss for words. Duh.
First.
Yeah, really.
All right, we won't let you struggle anymore. Let's send it back upstairs to Bob Costas. He's never at a loss.
Yeah, really.
But pretty close. For the record, the 11 combined runs in the 9th inning ties a World Series record for most runs by both teams in a single inning. It took 4 hours and 12 minutes to play it. That's 2 minutes shy of the longest 9-inning game in World Series history. 14-11 the final. Tomorrow on NBC. Game 4 at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific from Jacobs Field. Tonight, after your late local news, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Tonight, Jay welcomes Rod Stewart and Pierce Brosnan, assuming they stayed around. For those of you who want to continue with post-game activities, if you just can't get enough, Keith and Hannah on CNBC right after we leave the air, which is right now. For Joe Morgan, Bob Uecker, Jim Gray, Hannah Storm, Keith Olbermann, Elliot Kalb, and Jeff Sleet in the booth. I'm Bob Costas. So long.